What's up, guys? How we doing? Please let me know how my audio is. How's everybody? I'm trying to lavalier mic today. Let's see. We got Lou in the chat. We got Buddy in the chat. We got Robin in the chat. Caution, how are you? Tristan is up there. What's up, guys? How we doing? Let me know if you guys can hear me. Oh, we only got 9 people in here. We got a quiet chat so far. Let me see if everything is working okay. Hey, what's up, Tristan? How are you? How's my audio? You guys doing okay? Oh, thanks. Thank you. Let me know how the audio is, Tris. Oh, I guess I can hear it myself. Good morning.
Oh, thanks. Thank you.
Oh, that's not bad.
Let me know how the audio is, Tris.
Good morning. How are you?
Oh, I guess I can hear it myself.
Very cool.
Good morning. Oh, thanks. Thank you.
Oh, that's not bad.
Let me know how the audio is, Tris.
All right, I have to get rid of that. How you guys doing? Vertigo State, what's happening? Robin, what's up? Julio, how are you? How have you guys been? I missed you guys. It's been a long time. Godfather, what's happening? Yeah, it has been a minute since I've done a live stream. I've been on a lot of other people's live streams. I'm in, how are you? Malaysia, nice. What time is it in Malaysia? See, we got a couple people popping in here. But I have not been on a live stream on my own channel in probably 3 or 4 months. I've been on other people's live streams, and I do have a lot to share with you guys. So it's funny, that TV in the background. So I'm in this massive house, my kids' skateboards in the Hamptons, a friend lent to us, and that is a Hitachi. It's 720p, but it's like this massive house. And like a lot of wealthy people, TVs aren't something they care about, which is fascinating to me. I'm like, oh, your Porsche? I'm like, your Porsche is great, and but your TV is 720p and 32 inches. But all right, guys. So we only have 30 of us in here. So while we're in here, it's better to have more intimate conversation, ask any questions, or more importantly, let me know how you guys are doing. How is everything? How's life? How are you guys doing? We're like in year 3 after everything that went down. What country are you in? What time is it? I'm always going to be in these live streams. They're less about TVs, though I'll answer any question you guys have. It's really more community to see how you guys are doing. Stop the FOMO. What's up? Stop it. FOMO, our good friend FOMO, is actually heading into NYC once again, except this will be a family trip. And then I believe he will be coming down after that, and we will definitely get together and shoot something. We have a lot planned, FOMO and I, this year, and Brandon and our crew. So we have quite a bit coming up. What's up, Michael? FOMO, hit me up when you're in the city, though. I might be around. I'll fly down or go take a train down and see you guys. Yeah, hi from that monkeypox. Michael, what's up? Review for the Tube. How are you, my friend? Michael's another long-time guy. I'm in 5 a.m. in Malaysia. Michael, thank you for always being here, man. Thank you for being a very good friend and being part of the channel and the community. This video is This live stream, as I mentioned, is really more, get rid of that TV, is really more about us saying me saying thank you and spending more time with you guys more than anything to do with TVs, or we can talk anything you want, movies, gaming, whatever. Thank you, Sin. Appreciate it. Charles, how are you? Hope all's well in London. London, I think you're 5 hours ahead. So we have a lot planned. I actually have about 15 videos that I've actually completed. Thank you, Charles. I'm glad you found us too. I got about 15 videos up ready to go. It's just in releasing them, and the TV world is ever changing. So it's, I'm on vacation. I have these videos planned. So I'm really going to just start releasing videos regardless of what's happening with TVs, so we can talk about that this year. Vertigo State in the Netherlands. Nice. Tristan, did I see Prey? I did see Prey. I went in there with very little expectations. I mean, no expectations at all. And I thought it was pretty good. I didn't think it was a masterpiece by any stretch. Let me know if you guys saw Prey. It's actually in the US, it's available on Hulu. And I believe in the UK and in other countries, we have Disney Plus, I believe, has it. So, I liked it. Tristan, I thought it was good. It was very basic. It takes place, with the Mohegan tribe, I believe, and it was good. It was very basic. The cast was okay. I didn't think it was terrible, but I'm not sure I'd watch it again, which is really my way of thinking. If I really love something, I'll watch it over and over again. I did watch Gray Man on Netflix. I love that. I've watched that several times. Shane trolling people like he was leaving YouTube and he pulled a Brian and changed his channel name. Yeah, Shane has been planning on doing that for a while, Tris. I think the spare change moniker doesn't go well with the equipment that he's reviewing. And I think he started the channel with several others, and it's really about branding himself. And it's a good move for him. My channel name was based on something that was very important for me years ago that people don't understand when they would see Whisper Status 74. And when I was on other people's, namely FOMO's channel, you would always hear, well, yeah, subscribe to Brian's channel. And everyone's like, well, I can't find this guy. What's his name? They're like, it's Brian. And they couldn't find Whisper Status. So what is funny is I actually get more Whisper Status comments now than I did when I actually had the channel. Let's see. Tristan said, yes, it was decent, but I think with all the slowdown in movies during COVID, we were like, I would absolutely agree, Tris. I would also say the problem we're having with movies now is we can't develop anything that's original. So by doing a Predator prequel, you spend most of the time trying to connect Predator. You spend most of the time trying to say, oh, that's the gun from this, and that's from this, and that's from that. It distracts you. So it's really hard to try to go back. Let's see. Caution. I know I missed hi, Justin. How are you, my friend? Let's see. Let me go back to Caution. I know I missed you. Had a question about the Z9K. Let me see. So the Z9K, from what I understand, there we go. I just set up my new 85-inch Z9K last week, and I bought it after you showed us the VR update for local dimming. This update was not available after setting up my TV. Hasn't been rolled out yet. It's supposed to be out. It does cover the entire Sony lineup, as well as last year's covering my own face with my comments. Last year's X95J, and it should be the Z9J. So Caution, I will look on Sony's website, but I will follow up for you with some Sony people and see if it's something that you can download, but it's definitely coming. So I would not fear. I would say the Z9K, even with local dimming disabled, looks incredible, and I hope you love it. I mean, it's an awesome panel. My buddy Love. Buddy, thank you so much for the super chat. Really, really generous of you. And guys, for me, super chats are very, very nice. It's not necessary. It's very, very, it's very cool, buddy. Love, thank you so much. But if you guys have a question for me and I miss you, just ask it again. You don't need to really send a super chat, but I do appreciate it, buddy. Buddy's been a part of the community for a really long time, and a lot of love. I really appreciate it. And that's really what this live stream is about. It's really a thank you from me to you guys, because every time you put a video out or every time you go into a live stream, you're like, I hope people watch. I hope there's somebody there. And what's funny about YouTube is you got to keep the momentum going, and it can be exhausting. We talk a little bit about that later. We have a couple hours before I get yanked today. But buddy, thank you so much. I really appreciate the love, and I really appreciate I know everybody says they love their community, but I'll tell you, no joke. We have one of the most positive communities on the platform, especially in technology. And what's interesting is even watching Shane's live stream for the shootout, I didn't see a lot of our crew in it. And then when FOMO did his live stream in the other room, I saw more of our group that does hang out with each other was there. So, excuse me one second. So it's all about being able to get what you want across without having to put down somebody or destroy something else. And I think if you guys ever want to talk about the shootout, I do have a video talking about the perspective of the shootout. And Leo, what's up, baby? How are you, Leo? It's Leo's the man. It's the perspective on the shootout is what you saw on the live stream was 1080p and it was shot straight on. What me, FOMO, Keep It Classy, and Be the Installer were seeing, and I have footage, is TV, dead center, dead center, dead center. And honestly, my opinion of some of the TVs that lost went up. Like for me, I'm more interested now in the Samsung Q900B than I was in the beginning of the shootout. So it's a very interesting conversation if you guys want to have it. But AJ, Lightyear was more tense than Prey. I mean, I will say what I did like about Prey was it was extremely primitive. His movement was primitive. He was very thin and agile. I think the challenge I have now is the acting and the writing is not very good. It's very hard to believe that this tribe of Indians care about each other or even know each other. And then you have these other guys come in. So other than the casting, I thought the action was okay. And speaking of one of my boys in here, hold on, where's my baby right here? Brass Tacks. You guys know Brass Tacks. So I'm gonna keep Brass on the screen for a while. So we talk every day, actually. It's a very interesting conversation, how Brass and I hooked up. He's in the UK. You guys know him. He's one of the OG YouTubers, 4K Blu-rays. He is coming back to the platform. We definitely plan on doing things together. But as we were talking, we talked a lot about Prey, and he liked it more than I did. I thought it was pretty good. Where we did disagree is I thought the animation for the animals was terrible. I don't think it blended in at all with the environment, and I found that a little distracting. But you'll look forward to seeing us do things together. We'll be talking about movies and life and everything else. Appreciate you, brother. Brass Tacks in the house. Travis Vania, what's up? Are you excited for the new RTX 4000 and AMD graphics cards in 2 months? I am, because it has been terrible with crypto and the graphics cards disappearing. You know, what we saw with graphics cards was even as far back as the 2080 Ti, very expensive flagship card. Then it gets undercut by the 3000 series, hurting the 3000 series or the 2080 series group. And then you couldn't get them. So there was all this regret, kind of like what you're seeing this year with the S95B and the Samsung, is that people were super amped and then bummed out and then amped again and then bummed out. And that is how this is. So the fact that the 3000 series cards, everything is coming down is super important. But also, Travis, I brought this up during the Value Electronics when they had the panel. They were really poo-pooing 8K. This graphics card lineup will bring us there. So it's easy to say we don't care about 8K because of 4K Blu-rays and there's nothing to stream. But if you do have GPUs that can actually do 4K even at 30 FPS or 60 FPS with low settings, then 8K will be more important. To the point, Travis, is now that my next panel, as I get rid of my C1, I am looking at an 8K panel. And it's like the 900B. I might go with the G2, but I want to try 8K for a while. Dave, how are you? Greetings from Scotland and congrats on your new milestone. Thank you so much. I'm a week into owning a 55-inch A90. It is, Dave, it is a fantastic panel. Beautiful, beautiful panel. It's QD OLED is really more about color. and color vibrancy and color brightness. And when the S95B had come out, you saw that with me and FOMO on his channel. We were blown away by not only the color, but the peak brightness. And I think the brightness is something we have to step away from because I don't think the panels can sustain it. So Dave, I'm glad you're happy with your purchase. You have the more premium QD OLED in terms of build quality, heatsink, the Bravia cam, sound. But the S95B, in my opinion, is just as good. It's just that it's hard to really trust Samsung these days with these haphazard updates. But even though a lot of us feel like the S95B had been crippled, it really looked just as good as the A95K. They were so close. It was ridiculous. Caution, I'll ask Mr. Zone at Value Electronics to get in touch with Sony, and we'll find out very, very quickly for you. At least I'll let you know next week. So follow me up on the newest video and just follow up with me and I'll get to you. All right, guys, let's see. What we got? Oh, the bear from Revenant, no doubt. Let's see, Hoops Forever. Hey, Brian, what preset do you recommend on G2 for SDR and Netflix with color pop? I will know that better. Something about the G2 and even a lot of times everybody jumps into filmmaker mode for Netflix. Netflix is very dark. Don't be afraid to jump into something like standard if it looks dark, and don't be afraid to ramp up the color saturation. We get so hung up on this accuracy thing that we sit back going, oh yeah, that's very accurate. And it's so dark, you can't see. I do it myself. So don't be afraid to jump into standard or stay in I think Dolby Vision Bright or into Filmmaker and mess around with the color saturation. Don't be afraid to put a little advanced contrast in there on low and you'll see a big difference. Again, stay with accuracy to a degree, but do not, I got rant videos coming up on this. Do not get handcuffed by that. It's a big thing that we had with the shootout is the judges were all qualified. They're filmmakers. They're in this industry. They're not influencers. They're not YouTubers. I wasn't a judge. But what's interesting is, do you watch TV the way they do? And I promise you the majority of you don't. However, you stay so connected to what does the calibrator think that you're afraid to just watch TV how you like. You're afraid to go, I kind of like that. I like the way that looks. And it's something that you gotta, it's every conversation has value, but don't be afraid to go into it yourself and say, look, I don't care what this guy says. I'm gonna put on something, whether it's a live color on Sony's or dynamic contrast or anything like that. Rick Shane, what's up? Looking 20 years younger today, either lighting or a filter. No, it's this is how old I am. I got the gray in the beard, but I've been in the gym, been back into taking care. Had some injuries. Good to see you, Rick. Just trying to be back into fitness more. You get really bogged down. Taking a couple of vacations. I almost canceled. And sometimes you get so fatigued you don't even want to take a vacation. And luckily, I did. So it's just, I feel better, dropping some weight, getting back in the gym, feeling good. And it's important as YouTubers, you see that with other creators, even gamers or Twitch guys, you watch them get worn down. And with all the negativity and the drama and, some not so friendly comments, you're just tempted to say, forget it. And I think every YouTuber, and I have a lot planned this year for interviewing other YouTubers. I do have a series coming out called Origin Story, which will be me interviewing your favorite YouTubers. And if you have YouTubers you want me to interview, I'll definitely do that. Even guys that I'm close with, like FOMO, Brandon, get their perspective on how they started, and definitely want to get this guy right here, my boy Brass, and collaborate with people that have high energy, you know what I mean? And it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. But we're gonna talk about some of the challenges of YouTube and why your creators disappear or they stop. or they realize like, wow, this is taking over my life, and I'm worrying about if this is going to get a lot of views or that's going to get a lot of views. So what I've really done lately is not look at views, not look at what video is doing well and what video is not, because a lot of times that keeps you from making content, and that's just not the way to do it. It burns you out. DRAM, how are you? Hey, Brian, what impressed you most about the Q900B? Great question, D. What was interesting is when the panels were being calibrated at the store. Again, this is why I go into calibration a lot. It's a lot of measurements, a lot of patterns. And even though we had the BVM there, DRAM, and everything wants to look like the BVM, as the BVM is this Hollywood monitor. And if you've ever seen the BVM in action, it is pretty fascinating because filmmakers literally have 5 or 6 of them. And what they shoot in their camera has to line up with what the BVM does, or they see it on the BVM. So it's fascinating. And I wish you guys could sit with that reference monitor, because I promise many of you would say, wow, that is really impressive. After 5 minutes, you're like, wow, that's really boring. Meaning natural, accurate, but specular highlights, saturation, any of the things that make you say, wow, is missing from it. And to your question, DRAM, out of the 8K panels, we had an 85-inch Z9K, and we had an 88-inch Z2 LG. The Z2 is 25,000. The Z9K at 85, as Caution will tell you, is 10,000. And I believe the Samsung is 7, maybe 8,000. And Samsungs will drop. The reason you won't see the Z9K drop is that it is a Master Series. It doesn't have to drop. But DRAM, what I liked about the Samsung was its saturation. It just seemed to have more color. It has a wider color gamut. It is a quantum dot. But even with it being calibrated, it was obvious. Where the Z9K, which I know can be very colorful, looked flat, meaning it didn't seem to have a lot of color. Now, Caution, don't worry. I'm very familiar with the Z9K. It's not flat. But I think this calibrated image at times can make things very lifeless in favor of accuracy. I'm not sure that's always the best way. So I really wish you guys were in the room with us, because a lot of the comments that I hear, even from other YouTubers, are people that have never, ever seen these panels. Never touched them. Yeah, I touched them. Who's never touched them, spent time with them, and they're criticizing the shootout and criticizing panels they will never see. The 900B being one of them, DRAM, it was impressive enough to me, plus its gaming features, that I would consider purchasing it. And if I can get one to try before I make my purchase from the C1, I will try the 85-inch, and I'll let you guys know how I like it, because I'm definitely looking to try 8K. And honestly, trying 8K, not because I think it's necessary, but I'd rather try it with you guys and do a series called Living 8K to see how it affects everyday content. I had the 900R, and I wasn't super impressed with it, but it was only 55 inches, and it was first generation. Hopefully that answered your question, D. Long ass response to that. Buddy, there was some big talk about 8K. Did they mention any plans to make OLED 8K more affordable? I didn't win. So this is another interesting question, and why LG is in a weird spot. So one, the G2 didn't win, but it doesn't change my feelings on it. It shouldn't change your feelings on it. The things that it didn't score well are things that aren't going to matter to you. I thought the G2 looked just as good as the QD OLEDs. They were a little bit more colorful, but for the most part, I like the specular highlights on the G2. In terms of LG, a lot of the additions they're making next year, buddy, are in 8K only, with the lens that is got a higher peak brightness. Unfortunately, the yield of the mother glass at that size, I wouldn't buy a small one, because I would get as big as you can. They're never going to be affordable. I mean, unfortunately, they're going to be in that $20,000, $25,000 price. And I don't care if you're wealthy. To me, they're just never going to be worth that. So I don't think they're going to be, if it will be, it'll be 3 or 4 years from now. I do not have a video on that, but I will do one for you next time I see the Z9K, my friend. Here we go. Craig, what's happening? Craig is another one of those very positive guys, watches everything, says hello all the time, even watches on vacation. Craig's at a palm tree in the back. Craig, lovely guy. Thank you so much for jumping in. Good to see you as always. And Joe Woody in the house. What's up, Joe? How you doing, brother? How's everything? Hope all is well with you. Haven't seen you in a minute. Charles, I have not seen the Samsung Arc, but I will try to start getting some monitors because I know Sony's done some monitors, and we'll be doing something with those. It's just they're bumping into these smaller OLEDs. And Charles, I mean, I have the 43-inch QN90B. I love it. So I will try and get my hands on that for you, Charles, and see. And you also bring up a really good point about the Samsung updates. And FOMO's sending love. You gotta love that we do this, that we all thank you, FOMO, that we all send each other super chats when we're on each other's live streams. It's not about saying you super chat. It's always about us showing each other love. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. FOMO's been a huge help and a great guy and awesome, great guy to collaborate with. But back to what we were saying about Samsung while I had FOMO up there. Hold on a second. Yeah, so we were talking about Samsung. I hated the updates that hit the QN90B and the S95B. And then there was all this nightmare about is it crippled or not? I would say for the S95B, it is made to look more like the A95K, which isn't a bad thing. But I would love to have seen the raw S95B go against the A95K because in my opinion, it was better. It was brute force peak brightness, specular highlights off the charts, gaming features. It was the easy win over the A95. Now it's just as good. So it's still great. And if anything, guys, the shootout did prove one thing, that putting things in proper context, the S95B to me, though it came in second place, it's more valuable than the A95K, or should I say it is a better value. So it coming in second place isn't a bad thing. To me, it shows that it's a much better value. And if you want a QD OLED, definitely buy it. I got Brass in here talking about, we were definitely looking to do podcasts together. You'll definitely see me and my boy team up. And it's interesting that my closest friends have been YouTubers, and Brass and I have never met. Big fan of his channel. Check out his channel. His videos are still up there rocking. Excellent 4K Blu-rays, but the real conversation that me and Brass have on a daily basis shows so much more of his intellect, and his conversations are off the charts. So, and we talk a lot of smack. So you're going to see some good times. I just got to put some pressure on him to get started, as my boy is a bit of a perfectionist. So I think he's looking to get things just right. And you know me, I'll film on a tin can. I don't care at all. So, okay. Youth comes with genetics, stress-free life, and sleeping well and staying active. Well, Singh, I would tell you that I think I have good genetics. I do not have a stress-free life. I just don't bring it up on YouTube, and I do not sleep very much. So that could be why your boy's looking a little old. But thank you for thinking that that's part of what's going on. I really wish it was. Oh, my baby's here. What is up? Ian, what's happening, mate? How are you doing, my friend? How's Kim? How's the fam? How's everybody doing? How's everything? I've not talked to you in a minute. Let me know how things are, brother. So good to see you as always. It's one of my boys, Christopher Charles too. These are guys that go way back to the very, very beginning of this channel. I mean, it's, when I would do videos and literally 5 people would watch, guys like Ian would just jump in and say, what's up? And it was just very, very cool. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. What's up, Chen? That is a great profile pic. It's funny when I see you guys on YouTube and I answer back on my phone, I really can't see your thumbnails until I bring them up here. I can't stay long. I'm meeting friends. I'll be back in 4 hours. Yeah, I won't be here for 4 hours, man. But get back to the chopper. Come on, Rick. Yeah, come on. All right, there you go. That was for you. I don't see Rick that much anymore. Rick talks a lot of smack. That's why. My bed is about 14 feet from the wall. Damn. So leaning toward another 77-inch G2, but I don't know if I should wait for a QD OLED next year at 77 if it comes out. I believe Samsung confirmed it in not so many ways, but it won't be at the beginning of next year. It'll be at the end of next year. So if you want to wait that long, I would tell you, Sin, if you have a clean wall, think about throwing a projector up there. I have a 200-inch projector for $700, and I love it, man. So to me, 14 feet away is pretty far. There's not really any TVs that are going to be large enough. I'm all over the place with the comments. Let's see. CMS, how are you? 20 for 20. Thank you so much for the super chat. Really, really sweet of you. Again, appreciated, not expected. I don't know if I'll be able to afford it when you hit 100,000. To be honest, CMS, I'm one of the slowest growing channels. To be honest, I've done YouTube very, very part-time, and it's a pull. It's a pull to think that I should do more. I should do this. I should do that. And reality, it's still such a fun thing for me, and it's trying to find balance. The channel could grow faster if I rock the content. And I know FOMO and I talked about this, is that the TV world got so oversaturated with content this year that it actually slowed me down. It's like I couldn't put out a video without bumping into someone else's video. And I can't let that affect me. But it's all about finding balance. I have a business of my own outside of this. I have 2 kids. Like many of you, I'm super busy, but I don't want to lose YouTube. I just have to find a better balance and release what I want to do. That's why you see, Brass in the comments, very good friend of mine. We're looking to do different stuff. TVs will be part of what I do always, but a lot of our conversational is something a lot of people don't do. I'm not super interested in heavy analytics or YouTubers that call out other YouTubers, give a crap about all that drama. I'm more about just having real talk and a real discussion. And that's something we'll talk about throughout this live stream. But CMS, thank you so much for the love, man. I really, really appreciate it. And let's see, we'll start here. Appreciate that, Rick. I do, man. Thank you, John. I really appreciate it. Yeah, you got a good picture there too, man. Love the glasses. Yeah, it's good. It's funny when you look at YouTubers, especially in the tech space. What we see a lot is if you do get to a certain number, it really doesn't matter if the views aren't there. So it's always important with community engagement, and I don't want to rush to to a certain number of subscribers and then not have the community that's still there with you. It doesn't make sense, but it's really important to have the actual community that you engage, because there's some YouTubers that have 200,000-300,000 subscribers that don't have a lot of views. So it's more about doing videos that you want to do, versus what the algorithm wants you to do. That's what's so hard for us as creators. It's not different than like people in music or in movies. It's something that, I'll be playing a video game and then I want to share it with you guys. And then I'm like, oh, I don't want to put that out. It won't get a certain amount of views. I never felt that way before. I used to just put things up, and if it did well, it did well. But you find yourself getting gun shy because certain videos do really well. And now everybody's doing comparisons. Everybody's doing TV discussions. Everybody's doing live streams. So you're saying to yourself, okay, now, even though I was one of the first to do that, because I've been on the platform for about 5 years, almost 6 years, it's getting so crowded. I want to just be more myself. That's why you're going to see me teaming up with this guy. I'll put him up here again. Conversations that him and I have here, even digital versus physical 4K Blu-rays, it's incredible how close that's becoming. It's incredible how you're able to update digital, how close, and Brass spends a lot of time checking each one to see how they look. And it's amazing, how close they are and how cheap they are. And ironically enough, with 4K, or I should say digital, especially something like Apple, going through their sale, $4 movies, $10 movies, it reminds me so much about when we used to go in back in the day and search for films. Say, oh my God, this is only $10. I'll take this. Where now when you go into a Best Buy, there's nothing. And it comes into you being on Amazon. So when you're clicking on an Amazon 4K Blu-ray, it feels very much like I'm buying a digital movie anyway. But the quality is so close. I think the one thing Brass and I both agree on is the audio isn't quite there. So that's a conversation we're going to have, because for somebody who's got 1,000 4K Blu-rays, he has really dissected the digital aspect of those, and the fact that they're so cheap. I think things like Godfather, $7, Heat, $5, and then even some of these movies end up having defects. Where I think he was telling me that Hard Target, the Van Damme movie, that ends up having the height channels or the rear channels were in the front. So that disc had to be sent back. And then that's something that if it was on your digital, it would just update for you. I appreciate them. I really do. I do. Thank you. Yeah, so the format with me and FOMO is what I'm looking to do, simply because, FOMO streams a lot, and I've been on his streams a long time. And I find that if we have too many people, we get bogged down on what's on sale, what's here, what's there. And then you realize that nobody gets a conversation in other than, what to buy. And then you end up with 6-hour live streams, and there's not a lot of fun at times. And when I get FOMO one-on-one, he's got such good energy. Him and and I tell you, when I get the last 2 videos I did with FOMO were on my channel, were supposed to be 20 minutes. And like an hour and a half later, we were just chatting. And what's interesting about FOMO and Brass Tacks is that's how we speak on the phone, which I think is infinitely more interesting to you guys than us script. I never scripted anyway, obviously. But I think it's more interesting to have that kind of conversation, because it's the conversation that you guys have. And that's the entire, for me, that is the entire reason for doing YouTube. The more that you make things like a commercial, the more, and this is my opinion, and the more jump cuts and the more you make things, then it might as well be a commercial. I want to be with you guys. I am you guys. There's really nothing different about me than you, other than the fact that I'm the one in front of the camera. A lot of your what you guys know is what I learn. I've learned so much from the comments. That's why the comments always have value. That's why I will always want to speak with you, not at you or down to you. Because, when I was at the shootout, we talk about TV guys. Who's a TV guy? Well, to me, the dude that actually built the panel, that's the TV guy that I want to speak to. When I'm talking to a Sony engineer, a Samsung engineer, I'm talking to all these guys, that knowledge is fascinating. That's what I want to talk about. I want to talk, but on the level that we speak on. I get so bogged down in all these different terms that even though I understand them, I'm more about what you see on screen. I'm a movie guy, I'm a TV guy, and that's really what my passion is. Edwin, yeah, what's so funny is FOMO, and I was his first guest on his channel when the first time he did an actual live stream, and it was about defective displays. So he has become a very good friend, and even though he'll always say that I shouted him out when he first started talking about Hisense, and there's a comment up here about Hisense that I want to address. He waited until he had a certain number to invite me on, and he's been nothing but gracious and actually tried to help me build my channel. So that's the best part about what we do here, is having creators help each other versus ripping each other down. And if there's any questions in the comments about other like YouTubers that attack me or attack them, they'll be ignored. Not just your comment being ignored, but I will never acknowledge toxicity. So even if somebody comes at me, names me in the videos, I will not give anybody the satisfaction on that. I won't. It won't be addressed because I have no time or energy to do anything toxic outside our normal life. You know what I mean? It's just who's got time for that? Who has got any time for that? So let me go back up here. And here's a face I haven't seen in a minute. McDaniel, how are you? McDaniel, I remember you got the 930E. I'm guessing back in the day we went, and this is when I was in the comments all the time, guys, every single day. And you know, we discussed it back and forth. McDaniel, I think McDaniel moved to a OLED after that. So I will definitely let me know how you're doing, man. Thank you for saying hi. I really appreciate you, brother. Really appreciate you. What's up, Leo? I did not see a super chat from you, but I will go back up. I don't think it went through, my friend. But I don't see it, but I'll have to go back up and find it. Let me see. Yeah, you know, and you know, before I get into a long part about this CMS, I've discovered even in my own viewing of YouTube, and we had a lot of YouTube drama last year. And what's so funny, it's almost like watching the Amber Heard Johnny Depp thing. You're watching, or politics or news, you're watching something that has no arc. There's no story. It's just toxic, 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 toxic. And though you might find it entertaining, you have no idea how much it's draining you. Now, I'm not saying don't watch horror movies or true crime. I'm talking about when you're watching things that are ongoing toxicity. And if you're looking at channels, a lot of tech channels now, even the really big ones, all they do is talk about toxic stuff now. This sucks, that sucks, PlayStation is in trouble, Microsoft is in trouble. Everything is this catch thing. So, and you know, Brass and FOMO and I both talked about it. I have no desire to emulate that. I won't be doing this sucks soon. That sucks. I have no desire to do that. And even the videos that I do at Value Electronics, and I'm down to answer any question about my relationship with Value Electronics for you guys. You'll wonder why I don't say any of those panels suck. I am free to say whatever I want about any of those panels. But guys, it's not hard considering I'm reviewing the top 3 panels every year. Top LG, top Samsung. So none of them suck. So I'm not saying it. It's just that everything looks pretty amazing when we're looking at it. Let's way back up. Cecil, how are you? Keep it classy tech. How's it going? We were together at the Value Electronics shootout. How are you doing, Cecil? Great channel. Check him out. Always good to spend time with him in person. Thank you so much. I'm probably the slowest YouTuber to 20,000, but I am extremely proud of the milestone, especially, and Brass will tell you this too, in the guerrilla days of YouTube, it was just you, your camera, and if anybody watched, you're like, oh my God, 2 people watch this. And what's funny about my journey through YouTube is none of my family watched. They still don't watch. None of my friends watch. So you're like, damn. I was like, all right. So I really did build a community that, that is, I don't know, that's legit because they are friends. And speaking of another one, here we go, my boy, J to the M. How are you, my friend? And Jay is another one who has always teased me because all my gaming footage will have very similar scenes, but games like Horizon Zero Dawn, which I have gotten farther, I'm still a kid. Meaning, like, I'm still in the intro. Same with like Spider-Man. I'm running through Spider-Man. It's showing you how to play. So thank you so much for saying hi, Jay, and for being here for so long. Just very, 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 very good group. Yeah, the thing is, we are a cool duo, me and FOMO, but you're going to see me, FOMO, you're going to see Brass. You're going to see, I have interviews coming up with Caleb Dennison. I have interviews coming up with other influencers. Also, I want to do a origin story for Robert Zone, who is the owner of Value Electronics, because all I hear is the guy's a salesman. When in reality, you guys have no idea that guy's life and what he's done as far as TV broadcasting. So definitely want to have him on and do more of an interview. So more interviewing than just look at this, look at that, and it will still cover TVs. And the thing is too, guys, just because it's the end of the TV year, for me, it's the beginning of the TV year. Now it's when I go back into the store and start really breaking down these panels, start going back to the G2, the Z9K, the Z2, the QN900B, spending more time with the A95K, the A90K, soundbar, speakers. So even though it seems like the TV year is over, for me, because I have that privilege and access, is really just beginning. Thank you, Clayton. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you, Cecil. I appreciate it. And you know, Cecil's another creator who puts his heart and soul into this. And him and I have talked about negativity since Classy started. And and he's in a tougher spot because he's more into the calibration side of it. It's hard not to feel like you're being cornered or attacked. And you know, we give each other advice, and I would just say, man, keep doing your thing and just put the blinders on and look straight ahead. And I do think people appreciate seeing all of us together, you know, instead of, and if I hear anything against us or any of us, it's just noise, and I'm not interested in it. So, you know, I'm not going to give any energy to that. But thank you, class. Jasmine Lee, $1.99 super chat. Thank you so much. Is the Z9K as good as the Z9G? Yes, it is as good as the Z9G. It's better than the Z9G. Z9G was excellent for what it was. Full array local dimming. It's an absolute beast. It does do true 4,000 nits. It does clip them. But as far as Sony, and I think Robert and everyone else would agree with me, it's the processing of Sony. The new cognitive processor, even being updated, really does make a big difference now. So the Z9G, as excellent as it was the return of, it did have a backlight master drive. It was this thick. I almost bought it. But it's getting up there in age. And even though we love old TVs, many of us, the processing is just not there. The TV on the wall, right? So I'm at a friend's house in the Hamptons, and I have to ask Robert about this one. It's a Hitachi Signature Series LED. That's only 720p. I tried hooking up a Fire Stick for the girls, and it wouldn't even work. There is a plasma in the other room, but it's not anything special. But it's amazing how there's a Porsche outside, there's a pool, jacuzzi, and the TVs are horrible. You know what I mean? They're just, I thought it was a Hitachi plasma too, but it says Signature LED. Thank you for the super chat, my friend. I appreciate it. I would say this too. If you plan on buying something like a Z9G, it's very hard to recommend that with the weight and the size, and you never know if it's going to be a value. Hard to go back. The only TV I recommend buying used is an LG, simply because you can check the use on them. You check the miles on them. All right, let's go. And that was CJ saying that. How you doing, CJ? How are you? Oh, we got 70 in here. We're getting some love. We're getting some love. All right, let me go back. This is how I do things. I read all the comments, but I talk so much. Most definitely CMS. But I will tell you this, YouTube drama, we all have to admit, is interesting to watch. The challenge of it is it's draining. And we saw all that this year. We saw drama from certain YouTubers. Then we saw, this is what we saw. I don't have to even give any names. It's not worth giving names. But you see one YouTuber and another YouTuber. And then you saw these like much larger YouTubers piling on. And regardless of how you feel about anybody that was involved, what we can all agree is that the toxicity that was attached on top and on top and on top, even those fighting for justice, supposedly, it just got more toxic. And what I realized as I was tuning into some of it, no one was talking about technology anymore. It was all just toxic, pointing fingers. It's just not what I do in real life. And if you meet me in real life, it's not the way I roll. If I have an issue with you, it'll be very obvious, and it won't be on YouTube. I won't be like, yeah, come on. I'm just going to be chilling and enjoying life. I have no desire to say someone else is wrong. I am not an authority. There are no authorities on this platform. a lot of the real authorities are working at those manufacturers, the ones building these panels. People I talk to at the shootout, those are authorities. Those are the people that I want to talk to. So as far as toxicity, though, just be careful. If you're a YouTuber and you want to come into this platform, don't build your channel on it because it's a one-trick pony and you'll never be able to go back. So I will tell you this. If I had started my channel, and I was tempted too to be more toxic and to bring up drama, I even didn't let toxicity in the comments. If I saw people attacking people, I just got rid of people. I don't care if you attack me, but you wouldn't be able to attack anybody here. My channel would have grown much more if I just let that run wild. I had no desire to do that, and I actually spent most of my time in the comments. And it's just not worth it. And if you see somebody building their channel that way and you like that content, you have to ask yourself about yourself and the kind of person you are if you really enjoy that. It's like watching car crashes. A lot of times you see like, oh, Jesus. But if you're really peeking into the windows, you know, you got to think about what's happening with you. Because I know for me, I'll tell you, this last couple of years, like many of you, we've had a lot of death, a lot of loss. When you start to turn more rotten and more tired, everything starts to suck. And that's something that Brass and I are going to do in one of our first videos together, is putting so much emphasis on the things that we like here, guys. I mean, I coined a phrase for myself, is that when your escapes become your prison, meaning, and I'm talking to all you guys here right now, the new movie comes out, a new game comes out, and you'll find as you get older, you're more critical. You know, Star Wars, that sucks, I hate it. And I did hate it. But you find that the reason you're more critical is that as you struggle in life, you're putting so much emphasis on these things to make life better for you. You're wanting to say, like, I want this TV to make everything okay for me. I want this TV. And when that TV doesn't live up to it, or God forbid it has some dead pixels or problems, it then starts to cause you actual pain. The game you're looking forward to, the movie coming out, the show that was canceled, and then everything gets pretty tough from there. So you have to try to focus on how you feel about you, which is very hard for us on the platform because it changes every day. You know, but I'd rather get off the platform than let it ruin me or let me get toxic on it. If you see me change like that, then just call me out on it. Biff, what's happening? Let's see, I get to see all their faces. Biff, what's up? Another one of our guys from back in the day. Thank you so much, Biff, for saying hello. And you'll see me going all through the comments here and there. But I really appreciate it, Biff. Good to see your face on your profile pic. A lot of you guys have these profiles that I can't see. Value Electronics, Robert, that could be Robert, Wendy, or Leanne. Let me know which one is in there manning the banner. Thank you, Brian, for adding so much value to our beloved audio and video industry. And we're interested in this premium home entertainment category. Robert, Wendy, Leanne, awesome people. Thank you guys so much. And if you guys have any questions about my relationship with Value Electronics, a lot of people would say that I work for them or I'm a shill for them, or no money changes hands with Value Electronics unless I'm buying something for myself. I'm lent panels and they give me access to panels. Now people will say, well, that's very nice of them. Well, sometimes people in the community will buy a TV, but it doesn't work. I'm not selling anything. I'm just showing what they have. And to be honest, guys, with the TV industry the way it is, you're not seeing many videos on Z9Ks or Z2s or anything. Actually, no one has them. So the old way of doing YouTube is buying TVs, reviewing them, and then sending them back to Best Buy or Amazon or whatever. To me, it's the same as stealing. However, Best Buy, Amazon are onto that. They do not want people returning TVs. And then it's hard to trust people that are saying, well, this sucks, I'm sending it back. So it really works with Robert to be able to bring not just his store to YouTube, but the man. Well, and his daughter, Leanne, and his wife, Wendy, they are dear friends. We've become like family. So if you see me being very close to them, the truth is I am very close to them. They are dear friends, and the relationship we have really benefits. But I don't get paid for anything. They're not sponsoring me. We're just having a very friendly connection that helps both of us. And it gives me the ability to bring you guys TVs you otherwise would never see. And you are, and yeah, Tristan, you're gonna see, more about, more about him and his journey. And I do want to do a video with him about the TVs that he's seen over the years, and kind of bringing perspective too is Sony winning the last 3 years. That's the first time they've won. They've only won 3 years. So people say that, oh, it's a Sony shootout. Well, they've been doing the shootout for 19 years, and Sony has only won 3 years. Panasonic won for a long period of time. Samsung won 1 year. A lot of plasmas. I believe Robert said that a Sharp Elite, which I do have a video on, is the 1 year that Sharp won. I think it's the 1 year an LED won. Yeah, and the funny thing, guys, you have to understand that you honestly think Robert needs me to sell TVs, and you honestly think, do you think that the guy's been in business for 20 plus years? They work in a very affluent area. Yes, I help them sell TVs by giving access, but the fact of the matter is they don't need me to sell TVs. And the shootout is really an industry thing. There's very few people other than you guys that are out there saying, oh my God, I'm going to go into the store and buy a $30,000 TV. It's really for the fans, which is why, I think it's so funny. And I'll do a video on that again about bringing the shootout into proper context. And next year, the shootout will be different in terms of my coverage of it. The spare change, or Shane Lee is doing the live stream. I will be doing commentary next year with the rest of the influencers, because I think that's what was lacking this year, was we didn't want to step on anyone's toes. We didn't do any commentary, but without the commentary, the toxicity was off the charts, and it was this sucks and that sucks, when in reality, the shootout helped me appreciate other channels much more. They have made me appreciate TVs like the S95, which I was blown away by, and then as it was updated, I kind of lost interest in it. Seeing how it performed next to the A95K rekindled my interest. The G2, which looked like it was a big loser, and look, I've spent countless hours with the G2. I'm more interested in it now than I was before the shootout. So all we really needed was more context. Caleb Dennison emceed it, Robert, and we had a panel of all these judges. So we can't, it would be better for us to go back to our golf chat, because we don't want to interrupt that flow. And to be honest, the reason why we don't see louder from us is, remember, we have judges in the room. So we can't really say, oh my God, that one looks fantastic, while there's a judge in front of us. And the judges are not YouTubers. There's a misconception that I was not a judge. I'm in there, I'm very close to these panels. I'm around them all the time, and I gave you predictions. I don't think it's right for me to say that this one wins, but I liked, and here's the thing, if you have any of the panels that were in the shootout, you win. You win. Let's see, that went out a little bit of rant. And really quickly, I'm going to address this comment here. So I'm not trolling Brian. He ignored me because he knows what I'm saying about him changing direction of his channel is the truth. If you don't believe me, check Brian's videos from 2018. Well, so I have actually have him blocked to this guy, and I have given him credit in the chat. And here's the thing you have to understand. I'll speak directly to you here. In 2018, I have had immense growth in my life from 2018. But the funny thing about YouTube creators is you want them to stay a certain way. You want them to remain as you like them. It's like a garage band. You want a garage band to stay as your fun band in the garage. But if you put them in that box, they will never be successful. So this is my channel, and this is what I want to do with it. That's why the name was changed to Tech Therapy. It's what I do. But I will tell you, Black Sabbath, Whisper Status, that name was dedication to my best friend that passed away in 1998. That means something to me. However, that is not going to help me grow. Now, I appreciate you being part of the channel, but if you think me bringing you TVs that are worth $30,000 that no one else on this entire platform can bring you is me selling out, I don't know what to tell you. And here's the thing. Even as I explain it to you, this will be your last time commenting. Goodbye. I don't know what else to tell you. I don't belong to you. This is who I am. I'm not selling out. I'm on vacation doing this. So take it easy. But, sorry you feel that way, but not sorry. I have to grow as an individual. Guys, I have to grow as a creator. You want me to stay the same way I was in 2018 in any capacity? In my other businesses, I've grown. So, and I'm not afraid. I'm not ignoring you. You think there's anybody on this platform I'm afraid of? It's just not paying attention to you. So all I got to say to you is goodbye. Take it easy. Let's see. So yes, the golf chat, FOMO and I did that last year. Classy was there. China D was there. This year, though, we didn't want to step on any toes. And also the golf chat wouldn't have worked this year because with more panels, we had more contenders this year. We were far away from Shane's booth or Shane's setup. But next year, I promise you, I will be doing, Shane and I have discussed it. I will be if we're influencers, we're there to give you our opinions. We will be doing that next year. I'm sure Robert will support that because context is very important. Because even though Robert has what he says and then Caleb was talking, there are very long periods of time with no commentary. And that's where we'll come in and tell you what we see. Yeah, I mean, I understand that too, Classy. But this guy's like trying to come at me, and it's like, and the funny thing about YouTube is I do this because I love our conversation. But people really do want you to be how you were. You want me to be how I was when I had 50 subscribers? How does the channel going to grow? I can't tell you how many people, especially with FOMO and when I was on his channel, how many people were very interested in the channel and legitimately couldn't find me because whisper status meant nothing for them. And the fact of the matter is, even my relationship with Value Electronics, these are good friends, very good friends. But would you rather that I be sponsored? Would you rather that I'm an LG sponsor or I have sponsors? I don't have sponsors. I don't have any of that. So I think for me, being a shill or whatever the hell, it's even a stupid word. But I think it would be better to have me be there where I'm with a friend showing you a TV you're never going to see versus me saying, well, this video is sponsored by LG. So, but that's why you're going to see a different, and again, you're going to see a different channel direction. The tech therapy videos is what I do. There's no one else on the platform that does that. That talks about how you feel about technology, how it impacts your life. That is what's so important about what I do. Let me go back up. I missed. Oh, yeah, Robert did respond. You've made more important and valuable advancements and enhancements. We love partnering with you and share your passion for educating the public. It does. I mean, that's what we do. And the funny thing too is if you look at the videos that I do with Value Electronics, they feature Robert because to me, it's respect. It's only right. Influencers have the hat. Like here I am in this house, right? With the outdated TV. I'm in the Hamptons. Am I supposed to pretend this is my house? Like, oh, look at my crib. Am I supposed to go in the Porsche outside and drive it around for you? So, I mean, that's the problem I think with influencers is that, it just doesn't, I don't know. It's funny. But pretend like, oh, here I am in the store again. And people say, well, I can't believe they're that nice to you. We're friends. But you want me to pretend that I got that TV or me smash TVs that I've never seen? Which I think is so funny about the shootout in the comments. And for all of you that have these panels, if you bought and look at the X95K. The X95K was destroyed on YouTube. In the shootout, calibrated, no comments at all about its blooming. Where did that go? Now, it had its weaknesses in comparison to the QD OLED and the OLEDs. And thank you so much, Robert. But the funny thing was, for proper context, all this talk about it being a piece of garbage and this and that and this and that, the fact of the matter is it's a great TV. But all that all that conversation about it's terrible, it's this, it's that, were from people that most of them never even saw him. Let me go back. Oh shit! I'm gonna put him up here one more time, even though he's gone now. This is what I love. Hey boy, you won't talk about TCL, Hisense, and Vizio anymore, or nowadays VE pay you enough to ignore budget customers. Interesting. So here I'll tell you that, and Robert mentioned it in one of our interviews. TCL, Vizio, and Hisense, all three are invited to the shootout. That doesn't mean they provide panels. It just means that we or Robert would buy them. Same with Panasonic. They were also invited. Buy them, calibrate them, update them. They would be there. Vizio has been in the shootout. Hisense was in the shootout last year. They did not want to participate. As good as Panasonic is, Panasonic won many of the shootouts. But you can't win if you don't play, guys. You can't watch a fight between two competitors and say, oh, if this guy was here, he'd win. He wasn't there. So as far as TCL, Hisense, and those guys, they're invited. Here's why I don't cover them. I can't see them. For TCL, I did cover Vizio. You know why I covered Vizio Black Sabbath? Because they were in stores. You know why I don't cover them? They're not in stores. They have no presence. So me, I can bring you the Elite because they're in Robert's store. As far as those other brands, they're not in a store for me to show you. Not even Best Buy anymore. So it's very challenging for me to bring you their, or would you rather I buy them from Best Buy, review them, and then send them back? I don't do that. That's not my thing. I don't think it's okay to do to a retailer. I don't care how big a retailer is. Got me ranting. Fred, what's up? Finally upgrade from the 65-inch LG C9. Awesome, Fred. I hope you're loving it. I love the C9. I love the C9. I love the C8. So I hope you are loving it. Hope you enjoy it. G2 is awesome. And the G2 actually is the panel that, let me get rid of this dude. The panel that I'm most wanting. But even Robert will tell you finding a clean 83-inch is very difficult, which is why I'm probably going to try and see if I can borrow the 900B because it really did impress me a lot. Let me go back down. And guys, if there's anything else you want to talk about outside of the stuff I'm talking about, just bring it up. Oh, Full HD. What's up, my friend? How are you? Full HD, I believe, loves plasma. That's a pretty cool picture. Brian's Old Tech Therapy and Best Buy walkthrough videos got me through the pandemic. Yeah, dude, they got me through too as well. Unfortunately, Best Buy has really kind of become more of a fulfillment center. I did a video on them recently, and I would love to get an interview with the CEO at some point to see where, where they're headed, because it looked very much like a Target or a Walmart. So they're usually, especially Samsung, has their panels in a certain way, and the problem is it was a lot of the Fire TVs, those Kindle TVs. I couldn't find anything that was, and what's ironic, guys, with Best Buy is if you look up right now, X90J and I believe the A80J cost more than the A80K and the X90K. So they're they're very, it's hard to get a feel for their pricing, but I'll still keep doing them. I got a couple drinks going on, so I'll start the impersonations soon. Let me know if you want to see any. Well, you guys got me through the pandemic too, man. It was definitely a lot harder. Juan, hello, my friend. Sony Z9K or the Samsung Q900B? I do think the Z9K is a better panel. It is brighter. I think it's higher quality. The processor, it's just overall the processing. But the 900B just excites me. Even though the Z9K is getting that update, and I will follow up on that for you, the 900B is more of a gamer's TV in terms of its feature set. So I'm looking, for more of that. So if I was to buy one, the Z9K would probably be the one I would buy, but the 900B is the one I want to try because it's more gamer centric and it's more affordable. I just like the color on the Quantum Dot. Nathan, hi Brian. Any recommendations for 8K TV as a PC monitor? Yeah, I mean that's where we're headed. I do believe the 900B is. I think there is a 65-inch. I'm not sure if there is one, but I would recommend going larger if you can, because you can use them as a PC monitor. But they're excellent. I mean, there's only three. Well, you do have the QNED, which is not QNED from LG. We were corrected on that. They will be doing their 8K mini LED soon, which you'll have in the store, so I can show you guys. So you know, it's something that I'll bring to you too from the store, and I'll focus more on it this year. The QNED, I didn't spend a lot of time on it, but right now you're looking at the Z9K, the 900B are the main ones. The Z2, I would love the Z2. It's just way too expensive. Actually, the Z2, the Z9, and the ZX were my three favorite panels of all time as far as how beautiful they were. Now that Shane has changed his channel name, you got to keep calling him Spirit Change. And this will answer the other question for Vertigo Escape right here. What's up, High Def? Are you planning to check out more ultra short throws? Definitely. We have the studio at Value Electronics too that Shane and I both share. So you're going to see a lot more short throws, long throws. You're going to see comparisons against TVs. So you'll see 8K go against short throws. You'll see a lot more of that. Because you're right, as the TVs get larger, I mean, you are going to see them, you know, get closer, you know, to that conversation. Do I go with a short throw projector or a TV? Short throw projectors, I would say, will never match a TV's picture quality. And then there's a bright room performance. But for me, TVs, as we get larger, my biggest fear is screen uniformity. So even with me buying an 83-inch G2, I'm going to really request that, you know, Robert finds me a clean panel and QCs it, because banding is a real problem for OLEDs at large sizes. It's a problem for all sizes, actually, but, you know, it's tough for screen uniformity. Brian, I love the positive focus you usually are instead of negative mindset. I appreciate that. Most definitely I do. But being negative definitely brings more views. I just don't have the desire to do that. And it's just everything sucks and everything's crap. And then there's flip-flopping that, oh, this is amazing because it's cheaper now. But calling out other YouTubers. And people have done that since the platform started. You can't have thin skin if you're on the platform. But, I mean, you're never going to see that from me unless somebody comes at me like this dude in the comments here. Then I'm going to dunk on him from the foul line. But for the most part, I can't do that in my spare time. You know, it's just I don't have any spare time, so I rather spend that just us being friends. And when I said this to whatever you want to talk about, he's like, "Where do babies come from?" Oh my god. Come on. Don't do this one, Alex. Let's see. Go back up here. Oh. I would watch Brian. You know, it's funny. I see a lot of YouTubers. All of us are. I don't know what the hell we're YouTubers or influencers. All of us will try to branch out and be like, yo, like Tech Giant, Paul the Tech Giant's an awesome YouTuber, great guy. Jolster's a great guy. And they're like, hey, you know, what do you think about this? And it's amazing. You have like 100,000 subscribers and they won't even watch. Like, damn, I ain't watching that. So it's so funny. People are like, yeah, I'll watch you review anything. Like, no, you're not. You wouldn't. You'd be like, hell no. Why are you showing coffee machines? Like, oh, by the way, next episode, espresso machine. Or here, hard cider. Oh, your boy's getting silly now. All right, let's do it. I highly respect Mr. Zone. Yeah, he's the man. He's the man. Yeah, I mean, you're going to see a lot of videos from there that they're awesome. But I had to be very transparent. You know, I got too many people saying, "Oh, there's a, you know, there's a." Oh, there they are again. Thank you so much, guys. Everyone will say like, "Hey, you know, you shouldn't do this. You got to be true to yourself." I be true to myself. What? Steal TVs from retailers and say, "Oh, this thing's a piece of crap." Throw it in a box and send it back. Come on, like that's being real. Let's see. Now I'm going back up here. Be nice to Brian. Let's see. All right, now I'm too far back. So how's everybody's summer? What are you guys doing this summer? You guys traveling at all? I was in Bar Harbor, Maine. It was absolutely beautiful. And now I'm here in Southampton. I believe the whole family's back. We have some friends here too. You're going to start hearing some loudness. Let's see. Yep, you're gonna see more love with me and Spirit Change. You know, Shane and I live very close to each other. We're good friends. Congrats, Brian. The 20 years. Have you played? I have not played Elden Ring. And what's funny about Elden Ring, I would love to play it. I love that design, art design of the Souls games. Gorgeous. I wish they would do that in movies, but they're just too hard, man. They're just too hard. I just don't have the patience. They're gorgeous. I wish they would do one with what's it called? Sekiro. You know, those I have them all. I can't get past the first level. I'm like, damn! So break the controller in half. So that's why I don't mess with those. But I wish they had like true co-op. That would be amazing. Let's see. Awesome. Yeah, dude. It's about chilling. And the thing is too is that when a lot of people ask me too, like, you know, do you watch a lot of YouTube or other YouTubers? I really don't. I don't watch a lot of other creators simply because even the people that you see me give love to and I work with, I really don't watch other creators. I try to watch as least amount of YouTube as I can now, and just get off my device. You know, enjoy vacation, enjoy our time on the planet versus me like, you know, watching stuff. And I try to watch more movies now. You're getting the 480 or 490, I will clearly go to the highest end GPU that I can. Just simply because with PCs, it's actually the worst part about PCs is a GPU from a number of years is also more powerful than a PS5 and Series X, but it's just not, things aren't really optimized. So, you know, it's you got to go for the biggest one you can. It might be older because it's actually a 720p. I put a Fire Stick onto it, and it wouldn't take the signal. So I went in to try to change the resolution, and the resolution was like 720p. And my 4K Fire Stick had no idea what to do. You guys don't have to be quiet. It's okay. I don't know about the dog barking. I'm like, but you guys talk as much smack as you want. Bah, but you're on camera. You're on camera. You're on camera. You're on camera.
Oh God, sorry.
I know you don't want to be on camera, so just let me know. Make as much noise as you want, unless you want to be on camera. Get up on camera. You are a young man. It definitely is. So what are you guys watching these days? You guys watching any movies? We only got 68 in here, man. I got to start getting more people on these live streams. We usually rock a few hundred. Though I am appreciative to have all you guys in here. I saw Gray Man. I loved it. I thought it was great. What's funny about something like Gray Man is we all want new content. We all want less sequels. And the first thing we do is when something like Gray Man comes out, like, nah. But I think, my theory on that, the reason why I think that's a problem is when you have new IPs, but you use Chris Pratt or these other guys, you're like, oh, even Extraction, which I loved. I saw Chris Helmsworth on there. I was like, nah, I'm good. And then I watched it and I loved it. So I think if you're going to do new IPs, you got to kind of use new actors too. But I thought Gray Man was awesome. It was a little, your typical action, but it was just refreshing. The action was off the charts. I enjoyed it. I loved it. Lightyear with the family. Jay, I've not really been into Pixar lately. It's just that Pixar for me is they were so good. Pixar was undefeated for I think 12 or 13 films. Everything was original. And then they started doing, what's ironic is a guy named John Lasseter, who founded Pixar, began working more with Disney, which is ironic because Disney actually fired him. He did Tangled, he did Frozen, he did Wreck-It Ralph. He was part of all that. And then Pixar started to struggle. And I just don't feel the same way about their content. It's just not as good. I could care less about Toy Story. Toy Story 3, I think, was like the pinnacle, man. It made me cry. I was like, Rocky 3, Mick. Well, and yet too, Godfather here, exactly what you see. For me, why Top Gun was so successful is that it's a very basic formula, a very simple formula. It doesn't get bogged down in too much. It's simple. Good guy, good fighter, good whatever, win, cool, awesome effects, call it a day. Unfortunately, it's another sequel. But yeah, I go back to watching those movies a lot. Let me go back up a little bit. I will. Absolutely, Patrick. I'm going to be broadening out more in the PC as well. Definitely doing, again, the TV thing is my main with tech therapy and gaming, but I'll definitely be doing more and different stuff. And you can tell you have to spend, when it comes into YouTube, obviously you have to continue, keep your momentum. Or, even look at our live stream, we usually have a couple hundred people in here. And it's interesting, if you're not on constantly, they won't recommend you. The algorithm's like, nah, you're done. Peaky Blinders, Sandman. I started watching Sandman. Peaky Blinders I thought was great. The problem with Peaky Blinders, YJ, is that they took like this crazy break in the middle and definitely messed up the momentum of it. But I'm definitely going to go back to that. Bloodsport. Just answer the question. Those were great movies. And he was great. I liked his stuff better when he was a martial artist. Yeah. A lot of testosterone. Brendan, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I hope all's well in Ireland. What time is it there, my man? Yeah, if you guys didn't see JCVD, that's excellent. It's like a mockumentary where it was like his comeback, where he's not robbing a bank. He plays himself, but he has this one thing in the middle where he's talking about everything he's lost. And it's basically him describing his real life because he had a terrible drug problem. But it was, the way he speaks, he's like, yeah, that's actually Arnold, but so good, man. Yeah, it is true, dude. No live stream it has been 4 months. It's been a long time since I've done one, so I guess I have to do more of them. YouTube's like, hell no, I ain't pushing this. But we do have exciting stuff coming up. I do have a lot of X90K videos because it was updated. I do have C2 versus A90J. Do have a lot of gaming coming up. So I have a lot of videos. I do want to do perspective on the shootout that we talked about in the video. So 11:30. Awesome. Fun fact is that my last name, which I'm not going to release on YouTube, is very Irish. If you could possibly believe that. I am 50% Irish. I don't think you guys are going to believe that, but I am. How are you liking the HTA9? I don't think they have one that's black. It's a black color, but I think it's only 2-channel. So I think you're okay. I don't think you have to worry about that. But are you pairing it with a Sony or using it as a center channel? Let's see. Westworld, I liked the first season. I thought was a masterclass. After that, I just didn't love it. So it just got to be too all over the place. But the first season I thought was amazing. But Anthony Hopkins carried that. So I was him and Ed Harris are the stars of that, as far as I'm concerned. I thought you were more Italian. I'm actually only 50% Italian. That's why my nose is normal size. I have all my hair and I'm 6'3". The tallest person in my family. On the Irish side, I am the shortest in my family. The tallest being 6'6". So I'm like Tarzan. No, I don't fit anywhere. The times like you know. Brian Murphy. Tristan, do I look like a Brian Murphy? But there are places in Ireland with my name in them. I'll just say that. Let's see. I heard Terminal List was excellent. But again, you get into like a Chris Pratt and I'm just sick of that guy. Nothing wrong. Like when it comes to like actors, Chris Pratt, The Rock, I don't want to see anymore. Don't need to see him in anything anymore. Loved him back in the day, Walking Tall, Rundown. I was always rooting for him, but dude, like relax. Dude's rocking khakis in every movie. Center of the Earth and Jungle Cruise, and now you want to be a superhero. I just don't want to watch that. I just do not want to watch that. It's just, I don't need to see him in anything else, especially superheroes, man. Like, dude, just get somebody original. Let's see. Most definitely, my friend. Where did Tristan go? Yeah, I heard he was more serious. He was that way in Zero Dark 30. He was a different kind of guy, but he got into that, even in that Tomorrow War, just that goofy, way of being. I don't want to see that all the time, Jeremy, how are you, my friend? So he's not the same Chris Pratt. Exactly. You know why? Because he's an actor. So he shouldn't be the same guy in every movie. So I will check it out. Let's see. Yeah, in Guardians, he was awesome. Let's see. Whoa, hold on. Spillage Village. What are your thoughts on the Batgirl cancellation? Was reading that the pre-screening reviews are very bad. I did read that as well, though I did hear that the Atom, it's not Shazam, what's it called? Black Adam with The Rock screened even worse. I do think that the new guy at Warner Brothers is avoiding. I think he thinks he's the first person to ever cancel a film that's this late in the game. They're going to end up canceling The Flash as well because that dude lost his mind, Ezra, whatever his name is. But I do think the Batgirl thing, the woke thing, I don't say that word often. I don't believe in that a whole lot. But I think that pushing all of that is making people now not watch movies. Even though something like Prey wasn't that, people didn't turn in because they were like, oh, here we go. So when you're pushing so much of that, people end up not watching it because of the trailer. I think Batman, the new Batman, was in such a different direction. It was more gritty. If you look at Batman and you look at the Joker, very high quality, different films. Joker was more like Taxi Driver, Seven. Batman was just this raw, but when you get in, now you're doing a Batgirl, and everything has been girl, 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 girl. And everything feels like they're attacking us as fans. Most of us just tune out. Whether you feel things are woke or I hate that word. I hate that shill, woke, troll, is whack words. But I think people do look at that and say, yeah, I don't want to watch this. And unfortunately, what ends up happening, and now they have to re-earn your business by saying, no, it was good. But I think they were just, if you could get that executive to be really honest, I think he was like, look, I'm done. And even here, what Buddy says here, if you look at the trailer, what did he say? If you look at the trailer looked like a show. But I think when you go into Batman and Joker, they were just films, very gritty, very well done. And I think Batgirl probably would have been a step back. And there's such a mess right now with where they're going. Classy had a cool comment in here somewhere. There we go. Tom Hardy and Henry, my favorite current generation actors, both extremely talented. Absolutely, Cecil. The problem, again, Tom Hardy, you've heard him interviewed, being an artist, his film choices, this is why he ended up in Venom, which is his weakest film as far as I'm concerned. They're not very good films, but again, terrible writing. Him on his own, he's absolutely amazing. Here, Leo. I do not like woke and I'm gay. Much love, Leo. The thing is, I think when it comes to misrepresenting us as comic book lovers and movie lovers and gamers and TV people, they really think that we don't like women or gay men or anything. And you realize, like, we've been on board from the beginning. We've always empowered women. We've always, especially if you're somebody who loves anime and comics, the most powerful characters were always women. That's not new. I mean, Underworld. I love the Underworld films. Kill Bill. It's just, I think when it comes down to what you saw in Star Wars, where it's like women are this and men suck and this sucks. After a while, people are like, all right, man, enough of this. And it just gets to be, and here's the thing too, is I feel like in the Star Wars, if you look at the Ben Kenobi Vader film, a lot was made of that actress and racism. And I'm sure there's racist comments out there, but I would argue this. People don't like poorly written characters. They don't like poorly written dialogue. And I can prove to you it's not a race thing. With Star Wars, Hayden Christensen and Jake Lloyd, their careers were destroyed because of Star Wars. They were hated. So even though things are so bad that we couldn't wait to see Hayden Christensen come back, people that saw those movies hated those characters. It wasn't because they were white. It was because the writing was terrible. So we have to focus more on creating great characters. And I think when you have characters like Ben Kenobi and Darth Vader, don't put anybody else in those shows, because those are the two people you're going to focus on. I don't care what character you put in there. They were going to fail because you're there to see those two guys. And I think in a lot of these shows too, making the star, like Loki, making the star be second string to someone else, or He-Man and Teela, I think it annoys people. They're like, dude, if I knew this was a Teela show, I wouldn't have watched it. So it's not a woke thing. It's just forcing people to watch something they don't want to watch. That's not my dog, by the way. I recently watched American History X again. Forgot how much I enjoyed that movie. Hard movie to watch, but what's interesting about that film, Sterling, is not only how talented was Edward Furlong. Edward Furlong in Terminator 2, if you saw where that kid's future was headed, his role in that film, other than Edward Norton, who's another amazing actor that just blew his career, just being kind of dick. But Edward Furlong, that was a big role for him. Another excellent film. Man of Steel, a perfect example. I meant to say this with Classy's comment. And this is what I rather talk about a lot on the channel, is if you look at Batman and you look at Warner Brothers and you look at what Marvel did, Marvel basically took every crappy character that comics had Even Iron Man, Thor, we all think that they're popular comics. They were not popular comics. They were Doctor Strange, Guardians of the Galaxy. These were Iron Man was not a popular comic, at least modern times. So when you saw that Warner Brothers was trying to catch up to Marvel, that was actually the wrong thinking. There was no reason to do that. They were actually ahead because they had the Nolan trilogy. But what they did is they had the Nolan trilogy, which was bookmarked, and they had, Superman Returns, which didn't do well. They didn't redo that. But what ended up happening is Marvel came out and they started banging these movies out, and then Warner Brothers was forced to catch up. Other Superman, what's it called? Man of Steel, I thought was very good. I thought it was underrated, the Man of Steel. The problem with Man of Steel was people didn't want that kind of people didn't want that negativity with Superman. They wanted more of a positive, but they remember Superman was only Superman for a couple days in that film. Zod, even I can't remember Zora, amazing. She was phenomenal. That was a good movie. The product placement was awful, but as far as the film itself, it was very good. But what they do, they scrapped that and then did some Batman v Superman, which was terrible. And because Batman vs Superman, you also included Dark Knight Rises. You also did you added Doomsday. You jumped the shark so quick. And what's so funny is then people also looked at Superman. They're like, oh, look, thousands of people died. So it's just, you see how things get to where they are, and now you get what you have. So, and Henry Cavill was a good Superman. Now, here's my thing. Henry Cavill is 6'1". We're talking about physicality for a minute. Henry Cavill is a very fit 6'1". He is not a tall 6'1", meaning he doesn't project length, right? Where's my arm? Right? He's not a tall 6'1". He's a stocky 6'1". Why you would put a 6'5" Ben Affleck as Batman and put armor on him made no sense to me. And then put Doomsday in there. And then put Wonder Woman in there. And then Wonder Woman became the actual star. And then that second movie was awful. And then talking about, I said this on Shane's channel, the bad guy who was in Wonder Woman, who was the guy from, I can't remember his name. He was from Game of Thrones. He was also having him. Why? And that guy actually plays Joel in Last of Us. So they can't stop using, and he's also the Mandalorian. Like, come on, man. I like the guy. He's not that good an actor. He has no screen presence at all. So back to the Star Wars Ben Kenobi thing. I don't think that character was because she was African American. I think because she was not a great actress and the writing was awful. And the thing is, they're shooting these actors now. They want everyone to be so average. You would have heard nothing if she was powerfully built or had a presence. It was trying to take no presence, write it badly, and say, here you go. And that's when I think people are like, oh man, this sucks. So I think that's the issue. That's what takes me out of it. When I watch Ben Kenobi and this whole like Jedi, like they're all homeless, they have no powers. Just have one of them just be a complete badass. Yeah, that was funny. That was actually hysterical. But the funny is, the guy is a decent actor, but like, you really want him in that role? Come on, man. Like, why? Craig, we talked about that. It's excellent. And you know what? It's excellent because it's very basic. It has a lot of Bourne identity to it, but it's an original story. And then there are powerful female characters. And there is diversity. I do love the guy from Bollywood who plays the bad guy, who is a complete badass in that movie. So that movie was great. But what I had said before, because you're using the same actors so much, I almost didn't watch it because I didn't feel like seeing the dude from Captain America. And he's great. Zack Snyder's vision was 5 movies. Yeah. Oh, no doubt. No doubt. Absolutely agree. And look, Zack Snyder's not amazing or anything. I mean, but if you look at what he had planned, much different than what you saw. But there was just no reason to go to where they went. They just, you have so many good characters, and you talk about Marvel again. How they built those characters was character development. Iron Man, all these movies, just character development. It wasn't something where they're like, oh, here's a guy, he's this or he's. It was just they had development and good writing, and you cared for the characters. By the time you got to Infinity War, you were just like, oh my God, I love these guys. I love these characters. When Thor rolls up looking for Thanos, you're like, oh my God, right? So when I watched DC, I'm like, where'd you grab this guy? Who's this? It was just, and the Wonder Woman thing, like, terrible. That movie was terrible. And I couldn't wait for that. I actually made the kids watch it, and they were like, that movie sucks. I love horror. Yeah, I do too. I watch Seven all the time before I fall asleep. But even like a movie like Seven, it's a great question. Why, Jay? I have no expectations. And this is why. I don't care about that universe anymore. It sounds terrible, but you had in the first 3, 4 seasons, even 5 seasons, you had some of the best TV we've ever seen. Again, character development, story. And then what you end up after that was like modern Hollywood. So as far as what happened to the Targaryens or even the White Walkers, I don't care. You totally nerfed them. You had, what's her name, kill the king. The Targaryens, you had Daenerys, who was like this amazing, powerful character, fall in love and be like a total puss, and then she dies. So my point is, I don't care. So when you get into YJ, when you start going prequel, I really don't care if the future's not any good. Where if you look at something like Better Call Saul, that is how you handle prequels, because it honors and incorporates the current. It doesn't hurt it. It only makes it better. So to be honest, I won't watch it. I don't have any desire to. I mean, the Game of Thrones ended so badly. I mean, I hated it. I don't use that word very often. Let's see. Let's go back up. I mean, what is the best horror movie you ever watched? Things like Exorcist, that transcend, Jaws. I'm not sure if Jaws is considered a horror movie. But I liked that generation of horror, even though I grew up in the 80s, Freddy Krueger and that stuff. It was always very silly. So I always looked at, other than the original Nightmare on Elm Street, I always looked at them as being kind of funny. But movies that, like, again, if you go back and watch The Exorcist, that's an amazing film. The original Halloween, John Carpenter, The Thing. Not true horror, but probably some of my favorites. But probably The Exorcist is my favorite true horror film. But, as much as I think I'm actually pretty funny, I don't love movies that get ridiculous with comedy. I think even something like Stranger Things, if you watch Stranger Things, the first season, excellent. Second season, less excellent. Third season, I thought was unwatchable because it seriously became, you have to have, comedy has to have context. You can't laugh while your friend's getting destroyed in the other room. It's just hard to, so I like comedy. I like the one-liners of the 80s, but when you get into horror, this is kind of hard to do that and then laugh and joke while like your leg was bitten off. The Blob was one movie I was afraid of as a kid because I remember watching that, the original Steve McQueen one. I wasn't alive then, but in the 70s. And also the way they were filmed was very gritty, so they were believable. And it's interesting we talk about like 4K Blu-rays and resolution, is that it's difficult to look at that and then say, okay, I want that to be cleaner because it doesn't really look great. My favorite film of all time is the original Jaws, and then it probably goes Aliens, The Thing, probably my top films. I probably stay in the heart, things like Goodfellas, Godfather. Probably my favorite. Seven is one of my favorite films of all time. Shawshank Redemption, But Jaws is my favorite. I think I love Jaws because it incorporates every genre. It's got horror, it's got suspense, it's a thriller, it's a buddy comedy, and it's one of those films that its scenery is a character. So when I look at Maine or I look at New England, I'm in Long Island right now. I do love that part of the atmosphere is another character. You look at Seven, you never know where the hell the film is, but you're like, oh, that's another character. So that's my favorite of all time. Training Day, excellent film. I like Training Day a lot. I always thought it was ironic, though, that Denzel, to me, should have won an Oscar for Malcolm X and any of his other roles, and they gave it to him for that performance, which was excellent. But he should have won it much earlier. One of the best actors of all time. Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Oh my God, this dog. Dirty Dancing and Ghost. That's an interesting pick. I'll love me some Swayze. Ghost is actually a pretty interesting film if you go back and watch it. Ghost has actually got a little bit of horror in it and stands up pretty well. Dirty Dancing was Swayze was the man. I don't know if it's one of my favorite films. Might be one of my sister's favorite films. Let's see. We'll jump back into TVs. Where do we go? Hold on. I just lost. I have not seen the Ten Commandments. I didn't even know that one was on 4K, Craig. I'll definitely check that one out. Was that Charlton Heston, right? Back when those guys were acting, they're just screaming. What I watched recently in 4K was the Planet of the Apes movies. They were phenomenal. Untouchables, excellent film. Well, I mean, in Game of Thrones, they killed themselves way before Daenerys. It was just, you built these amazing arcs for these characters, and then you just like, and you know what? One of my guys that said that they loved Game of Thrones, it's got to be too dragony, meaning that they use that constantly, that same, oh, here come the dragons. And they also started doing this where people are like running back and forth between kingdoms. The writing, Tyrion, Littlefinger, Varys, your best. I'll break it down for you this way. For me, as a gamer, you would think I love action nonstop. In reality, it's the story. Watching Tywin Lannister talk to Jaime about family and politics and the way they were speaking and his presence. Then when the action happened, there was such a great contrast, but I knew I liked that relationship. When it turned into, I'll give you an example, it's like Braveheart versus Troy. You watch Braveheart, it's gritty. And even though the sets and the scenes, those are all real people, by the way. When you look at something like Troy, there's no heart in that film. You can't do a million times a million. So you end up losing a lot of what makes you care about characters. Game of Thrones had that, and then to completely give it away made no sense. And talking about female characters in Game of Thrones, you had some of the best female characters of all time. As far as Daenerys, you also had, Cersei, one of the best villains ever made. And then what you did is you actually neutered them. You made Cersei like a worried mom, and you made Daenerys like fall in love with Jon Snow. Daenerys was a beast. Cersei was a beast. They should have had those guys march up and get together, not have them fall for Jon Snow. Just whack. And it's just like, who wrote this? And I do blame the writer for finish your books, bro. And here's another thing for Braveheart. The fun fact, one of the best movies ever made. But I remember when that film was made, and that whole, if you watched, Craig brought up the Ten Commandments, you watch a lot of those old war movies. Braveheart was the first that showed these guys smash into each other like that. It's in every film now. The difference is, in that film, those are real guys. So those dudes literally were all in the hospital. So I remember watching behind the scenes on Braveheart before it came out. It was like an entertainment channel, and it talked about how those guys were all in the hospital. So those are real guys, no CG in that. Yeah, it was ridiculous, man. It was stupid. So Sterling, if you look at the Barbarian movies, look at Conan the Barbarian and Conan the Destroyer. Look at those two different films, and you'll see one that's made to be more like a comic. You know, the Conan the Barbarian was very dark and holds up today. The Conan the Destroyer was kind of funny and doesn't hold up at all. Actually, if you watch Conan the Destroyer, there's a scene where he's drunk and he's like, Valeria. And she says, she goes, don't you ever get hurt? And he goes, nothing hurts, only pain. And he's wasted. Come on. All right, what do we got? Oh, Schindler's List. Oh my God, yeah. Well, Spielberg is unbelievable. Well, this ties back into something you're going to see me and Brass Tacks do is I love a lot of films too. The key is how many new ones do you love? Where are you with new films? Where are you with, oh my God, I love this. This is fantastic. As I mentioned with something like Gray Man, Craig said he liked it. The challenge I'm having is, do I want to see it again? And as a home theater guy, and we're all home theater people, when I see a movie, there's something in halfway through that I'm like, I can't wait till this comes home. I can't wait to bring this home. Lately, I've been like, it's okay. And that's what's so interesting about me and Brass Tacks is when him and I talk films, he's more about, hey, it was entertaining. And I'm like, but then where's my problem? My problem is I want things to be too based in reality. Something like The Matrix, there was a reason those guys fought the way they fought. But now, for me, when it gets to be too ridiculous, like Gray Man, those guys felt like they were genetically engineered. And I kind of I'm trying to find that way to just let myself relax and watch a movie. But the writing is awful in a lot of these. And it's really more about character development that we're struggling with. So, AJ, I watched the Conversation today, as a matter of fact. We're talking about John Casale. But I'll tell you what's interesting about like The French Connection and those films. I don't know how old you are, AJ. But when I rewatch those films, Marathon Man, it's so much about the writing. And it's so much about, again, the settings are another character. But I think that they're too slow now for current audiences. The Conversation, when you're watching that film, you're getting to know Gene Hackman's character. I love about The Conversation, you guys should watch it, Francis Ford Coppola, is the technology they're using. It's a laugh for all of us, but it's about trying to, spy on people and use mics and stuff. But it was I think and I've done this with young people, is recommend films. Even The Godfather's too slow for people now. And it's very interesting if you really think about what we're saying. We have fallen to convenience over quality. So I think that's why shows are much more digestible for us now. When you're watching a show, you're saying, okay, put this thing down for 45 minutes. And really do, and I have some friends that are executives at ESPN, HBO. Their biggest challenge, and I'll get them on here too, their biggest challenge is putting this down and watching. So sports right now is really struggling with, how do you watch sports? Do you watch sports with your phone? And movies are just way too long to ask somebody to not do something else. And that's a shame, but our greatest films of all time were 2.5 hours long. It's hard to ask people for that now. But I agree, totally agree with you. But I think if those movies came out now, they would really struggle. I think a lot of those films now would be better shows. So a good example here, Ford. To me, Lord of the Rings trilogy, work of art. Hobbit, absolute trash. And I never say trash. But The Hobbit was one book, small, made into 3 films. And Peter Jackson used the same tropes he did in the first one. But if you look at the way it was filmed, the orcs on The Hobbit were dudes in makeup. And no matter how good the technology gets, light hitting your body, hitting a ship, hitting a set will always look better than CGI. I don't care how good CGI gets. But to me, the Hobbits, even when I rewatch them, I initially am like, oh, cool, I kind of like this. And then within a half an hour, I turn them off. So that's a great comparison of what we're talking about. For it perfect is Lord of the Rings trilogy was a little bit of older filmmaking versus new filmmaking. Things are more hobbity. They thought by giving you these fun, even my wife and I were watching it in the theater, and it was the barrel scene when they're going down the barrels and they're hopping in and out. Most people would say, wow, that's really, really entertaining. She looks right over at me. She's like, this is stupid. What are we watching, a video game? And I had to agree. Doesn't mean I don't like action, but it's just, you got to chill with the CG, man. Got to chill with it. Again, I love video games. I don't want to play video. I don't want to watch video games. Stace, is that bottle opener in there still? I'm drinking hard cider right now. It was in that drawer right there. I think there, took it. Yeah. This isn't even a bottle opener. It's like it's a can opener. Legit. Oh man, French Connection. See, here we go. CMS. That's you speak in my language. Come on. Come on. The car chase in the French Connection, still a classic. Absolutely. Another great film is To Live and Die in LA, which was, it's very 80s, but you know, that's another one that gives the French Connections. All right, now I'm rocking Angry Orchard, so crisp apple, but excellent. You're right. But see, CMS French Connection, what was interesting about that film, like a lot of films from that era, is they're front heavy. So front heavy story, front heavy dialogue, but then when you get to the end, kind of like the conversation, they just end. And you're like, oh, you're kind of left empty going, damn, did you run out of money? It's like, what happened? But French Connection, no, especially Gene Hackman. Another big guy. I think Gene Hackman's 6'4". Total Recall. What's important about Total Recall was, again, original IP, original film. So, you know, when he was like, if you're me, I'm you, you got a towel on your head. He's got the thing in his nose like, ah, 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 ah. Did not like The Irishman, and I'll tell you why. The problem with The Irishman is, again, these are just my opinion, guys. I love that we're talking movies, by the way. Absolutely love it. When you're talking about The Irishman, again, going to the well too many times. I don't need De Niro in that film. I don't, and I certainly don't need Sebastian Mano, the comedian who's awesome. Didn't need this, because when you get to having all these guys in the same films, you can go back to Gotti and HBO, Goodfellas, Sopranos. You spend so much time going, oh my God, I know that guy. Oh, he's the guy from, it will pull you out. You're better to find new characters and new actors. Great having Pesci in there, but don't de-age these guys. It really looked terrible because Robert De Niro is such a physical actor. When you watch him in Heat, when he walks into the bank and he hooks the guy, that physicality. When you watch him in freaking Irishman, he's like, ah! He's like trying to kick that guy. So way too long. Al Pacino as Hoffa. It's almost like when you watch The Saints of Newark. I feel like I was watching actors playing characters playing actors. Like they're almost wearing a costume, and then you lose me. So I'm not a big fan of The Irishman at all. I thought that was a miss for him. Plus, I mean, the real context of that film is missing because none of that is really accurate. And Leo. Leo. So I will say this, guys. I'm going to keep Leo up there. When you think about what you guys watch, and I'm going to ask all of you guys in the chat this. Really think about this, depending on your age. I found a DVD book, right? And it was some Blu-rays in it, but it was DVDs, Blu-rays before I got married. So obviously I was a single guy. And I'm amazed at the different movies I used to watch, right? Not just some romantic comedies because there's a girl next to you. But when I look at the movies that are in that book, I realize how narrow my genre has become. I watched that in the movies, League of Your Own. One of my favorite movies of all time is Birdcage. If you like Birdcage, Hank Azaria, Hank Azaria. Either what the manalanes when he plays the maid. He's like, this what the manalanes. League of Your Own, good movie, but I don't watch those films anymore. They're not in my wheelhouse, but Leo's bringing me back. Excellent movie, LA Confidential. The intro of Russell Crowe for many of you guys as Bud White. That film also Kevin Spacey, who I miss Kevin Spacey. But yeah, bring that film. And that film too, Craig, that film definitely still stands up. That film stands up. Guy Pearce, awesome in that movie. That cast, and Craig too. Think about this: Danny DeVito, great in that film. Danny DeVito, excellent. Birdcage, phenomenal. Birdcage is the one watching that movie, going, "Damn, that looks like it's fun." he goes, if you look at Birdcage, when Hank Azaria goes, "How come you no put me in the show?" He goes, "Is it because my Guatemalanness? I'm too primitive for your estrogen rockets." And that was one of my favorite Robin Williams films too. Most definitely. Let's see. And Gladiator. Where I just unclicked that. Gladiator. And so what I love about Gladiator is it was one of your last big budget jump the shark films, Sword and Sandals. Excellent film. Gladiator, almost a perfect movie. And I really thought Russell Crowe was going to be a movie star, which he is. But when I saw him in that movie, I couldn't take my eyes off of him. And now he's just really heavy in Thor. But him as an actor, Beautiful Mind, Gladiator, he was unreal. And I actually miss him. Oh, you guys are breaking my heart. Blood Diamond. Oh, my God. Tell me Leo's not undefeated. DiCaprio undefeated. Another great pick, YJ. Another great pick for Leo is not True Lies. Body of Lies. Another great Russell Crowe film. Body of Lies. Mark Strong plays one of the best. He plays a good guy, but his character is phenomenal. Crowe has let himself go. Speaking of the Crow, I do not need a reboot of that. That might be the best name on YouTube. Scandinavian Berserker. Hey, Brian, congratulations with 20,000 subscribers. Thanks for all your great content you create and will continue to make your content 100% gold. Thank you so much, Berserker from Norway, or Scandinavian. Much love. What time is it there? That's a great comment. And dude, never change. That should be my YouTube channel name, Scandinavian Berserker. Unbelievable. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Unforgiven. Another phenomenal movie. What made Unforgiven so good, D-Mac, was like you watch that expecting Clint Eastwood to dominate. You watch that expecting, okay, show me Outlaw, you always see whales. Show me. And the fact that he had to be unleashed. And Gene Hackman in that film, unbelievable. What a gut. Richard Harris, what a great cast in Unforgiven. Oh my God, good movie. Morgan Freeman? Oh my God. I'm coming back up. So I would say this, the Avengers, right now I don't care. To me, the way that they did it and they finished with Thanos, I didn't love Endgame anywhere near as much as Infinity War. My biggest gripe with that was I really thought that the Thanos that was in Infinity War was far more interesting than the one that was in Endgame. And the time trope is awful. I hate going back in time. And also being a Hulk fan, I want to see him handle business. And they totally pushed them out and put like glasses on them. So I thought that was, again, we talk about that very delicate balance of film and comedy. And to me, that film jumped the shark. But the minute that was all done, I was pretty finished with Marvel from that point. I just don't find any of it interesting. And again, they've become a victim of their own success because now everything has to link to that group. And there's really, it's really, really hard to do that, to link to that. I saw Black Francis in here. Somebody, where'd he go? Oh, there he goes, my baby. Black Francis, what's happening? I am still streaming. How are you? I have a little bit more time. I think I'm leaving. This will be one of my shortest streams. I think we have reservations. So I have to leave shortly, actually, probably like 15, 20 minutes. But we'll do more of these. This is actually a small stream, but the good thing about having less people is we are answering a lot of comments. But good to see you, my friend. I think you're rocking an A90J and some other massive TV. Let's see. It's a great comment. Young people grow up with instant meals, instant entertainment, instant gratification. But the funny thing, Tristan, whether it's young people or even us, we're guilty of it. I even watch like my in-laws come to visit the kids, and they can't wait to go watch something on their iPad. So, even watching YouTube and watching, we're part of the problem, but it's like watching nonsensical things. It's just convenient, and 4K Blu-rays and even streaming now, you're like, on my Mac on 1080p, it looks fine. Where back in the day, I had to buy the best version of it. But how many times have you guys going looking for one of your games or looking for that movie and you can't find it? You can't find it because it's a disc somewhere, or the disc gets scratched, or your player. So we're all finding that the convenience, because of how busy we are, is why we're making these choices. With PC gaming, Steam was a big jump for me, but the fact that I wasn't streaming the game made it easier. But as soon as I got to that point, I completely stopped caring about having the physical copy, simply because I had the game on my hard drive. 1:10 a.m. Awesome, Scandinavian Berserker. Thanks for saying hi. I appreciate it. Drax, the Hitcher. Ooh, the Hitcher. You're talking about with my boy from Blade Runner. Prestige, Fugitive, The Game, Memento, excellent. Silence of the Lambs, Blowout, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, Breakdown. Nice list. Love that. Great list. As far as physical media, I'm with you. They just have to release those movies first. Don't release them later behind a digital copy, and don't release them for more expensive. It should be physical media first and then digital after, not the other way around. By the time you see it on Apple TV or whatever it is, you're like, all right, well, I'd rather grab three of those for $10 than for $80. Like right now, I saw Event Horizon, which I've had on Apple TV in 4K for a year now. I saw the collector's edition was $80, and I couldn't even find it. Let's see. Oh, here's one right here, Steve. One of my favorite films of all time, Brotherhood of the Wolf, Les Pack des Wolves, whatever. What was it called? Yeah, I love that film, man. Brotherhood of the Wolf, excellent. I'm still waiting for a Blu-ray version of that. I actually have that one on HD DVD. Excellent film. Thank you, CMS. I really appreciate it, my friend. Again, thank you for the super chat. Much love. Did I play Last of Us 2, Fred? I did not. I have the game, but after I heard where the game went in terms, I just never got around to playing it. I will play it at some point. I'll probably play it after I play the remaster. But in terms of playing that game, I just don't. I know I don't like where it went. So especially for the main character Joel, who to me was the main character. Awesome, I'm gonna take care. Thank you for jumping in. All right, so we're probably gonna go for another few minutes. Nice low-key chat tonight. Thank you guys for being on. Let's see. Yeah. Should have armed himself. And tell me what's funny is having somebody like Gene Hackman in that movie being terrifying was incredible. Like Gene Hackman, my cousin Vinny. Let's see. But yeah, I mean, it's watching something again like, watching. I heard the gameplay was excellent. So fun. Story wasn't that bad. Yeah, I heard it was awful. But I mean, I'm going to play it after I play the remaster. TVs. Do you think the A95K is worth $1,000 more? It seems crazy to me. It's a hard call because the A95K, again, heatsink, better build quality, better sound quality, and also comes with a Bravi cam, probably would equal to $600 to $800 more. It's also a Master Series. The S95B is very flimsy, very thin. But as far as having basically the same picture quality, Samsung is a much better value. So I would probably grab the Samsung being a gamer because they have much better gaming features. Just the game optimizer for Samsung. But if you'd asked me that question when the Samsung first came out, Samsung all day. It was so bright and so vibrant. But is it worth it? I mean, if you want the best Sony out there, that's what it costs. And I don't expect the price to go down. But I don't think it's worth that much if you want the similar picture quality from Samsung. All right, guys, we're probably going to wrap it up. We have a pretty low-key chat, even though we've kept it at about 60 the entire time. That's pretty impressive. Dude, yeah, Rugger Hauer. I mean, what's funny, that was when I saw The Hitcher for the first time, I didn't know it was a horror movie. And him just being in the teddy bear and he's like looking at him, and he was basically a freaking monster. That was great. C. Thomas Howell, great movie. Yeah, I mean, it's the build quality. It's very thin. It's beautiful, very thin. It's just to your point. It's the fact that they ramped down the peak brightness makes me believe that there's something wrong. They're protecting the panel. I wish they would just say that though. They cost way too much. Way too many problems with people's perception by doing what they did. I'd be very upset if I had that panel. Then all of a sudden it looks totally different. Cross Contour, Brian's Tech Therapy. First thing, congrats on 20,000. I was able to see a 65-inch X95K on sale at Best Buy, and the HR Impact blew me away. Should I wait for the 85-inch to go on sale? So what's funny, Cross, is that is the panel that everybody panned, the 65-inch. And I agree. I think it's very good. If you can go larger, I would wait because the 85-inch is another animal, is even better. And that one will drop because even though it's the flagship, it's not a Master Series, so it will drop. If you have the room for 85, you'll never be okay going with 65. So if I were you, I'd wait for it. It'll drop soon. So yeah, I love the panel, and thank you so much for watching, my friend. I appreciate it. Thanks, Jeremy. I really appreciate it. Always see Jeremy around. Really great guy. Thank you so much. Well, I mean, Sterling, the thing is, it's the last couple of years, OLEDs are more affordable, and being more affordable and looking, they're not really as dim as they used to be, and people thought they were dim. They're really, and that's what I became to see what I saw at the shootout. It was very hard to recommend an LED other than a very bright room. If they don't have the contrast ratio, they're thick. There is blooming on LEDs. OLEDs are vibrant enough, and they're cheaper. That's where this is hard for LEDs. Is it was different when LEDs were much cheaper and they were larger. Now you're seeing larger OLEDs cost less than LEDs, then they have nowhere to go. And that's probably the problem with LEDs more than anything. So they've become more popular, not because of any other reason, but they're more affordable. Where it was easy to hate, same with if you loved plasma, they were easy to hate because they were so expensive. You're like, forget this, man. These things are too expensive. Now you're like, okay, And then, obviously, if you look at here, C1, CX, C9, and C8, though they were all the same class, the C series was still considered the higher end. Then you had E, and you had their more. But in reality now, what they have now is they're making the C sound like it's a medium, lower end. But the C2 is awesome. I thought the C2 was a jump over the C1 a little bit. It was definitely cleaner to some degree. So I'll go G2. I don't like the design of the G2 at all, to be honest. I don't like how thick it is. But I definitely I like the G2's picture quality. Thank you, Clayton. I really, really appreciate it. I'm happy you're here too, man. I really, really do. And Tristan, I got to give Tristan a lot of love. I believe, Tristan, we met through Shane, Spirit Change, who now is Shane Lee. You're going to see a lot of collaborations with me and Shane. Shane and I are good friends. We live close by. We also work together with Robert, Wendy, and Leanne at Value Electronics. So you're going to see a lot of us together. Shane is also branching out. The idea for all of us is to branch out. But you have guys like Tristan, who's here with Keeping Up the Joneses. No matter... I'll say this to Tristan right now in front of everybody, and even the Value Electronics crew knows this. In the last year or so, I was very close to stepping away from YouTube several times, just stepping away, whether it's things that are happening in your life or you get exhausted. And then without fail, Tristan's comments come up. And it was interesting because he would comment on something that was a year old or jumping on live streams. And that's why this... the friendship that I have on this platform, that's what keeps you going. It sounds ridiculous, but I can share this with you guys. YouTube for me is a place of friendship. It's a place for me to go and talk to people that enjoy the things that we all enjoy, the passion that we all have. To be able to, it can be a very lonely world out there, especially during the last few years. To be able to have you guys and then have, a lot of you guys in this chat and someone like Tristan that no matter what keeps you going. And then that's why you see YouTubers leave. They just are like, well, I don't need this. And then you have people like Tristan who jump in like, hey, man, I miss you. And you're like, oh, man, I miss you too. And all of a sudden you end up wanting to keep going. And I really do appreciate it from the bottom of my heart, man. Love you, Tristan. Thank you so much for just your friendship and all you guys. It's not about being the biggest YouTuber. It's about enjoying the journey together, and which is why you're going to see me interview people more. I want you to hear more what people have to say and how they feel about their craft. So thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Make me cry. Let's see. Oh, Valuatronics is still in the chat. Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Robert, is that you or Wendy or Leanne? Let me know which one of you guys is in the chat right here, but I really appreciate you guys watching. Let's say about Value Electronics that, they're so absurdly busy that when I'm in the store, I try not to bother them. Even though I want to feature them, I feel, and even like me borrowing TVs, which is amazing because it's so generous of them, I'm cognizant of the shortages that we have and the constraint that we have. So though they're willing to let me borrow or take home almost anything for you guys, that means I'm also taking it from one of you guys. So I don't want to take a TV from a client. So I rather open it up at the store and have Robert, Wendy, or Leanne introduce it to you guys. And then I can cover it in the store as well. I like bringing some stuff home. But for the most part, it's like I feel like the fact that they're even watching is big because I really do appreciate it. What about Panasonic OLED? Panasonic is one of our favorite brands and companies. And speaking of Value Electronics, they were one of two, but I believe the only one carrying the Hollywood Panasonic OLED. You can see that on my channel last year. Robert does have a good relationship with Panasonic. They're just not in the States anymore. We would easily recommend them and show them alongside Sony and the others. They're just not here, and they don't have any interest in really being here, though they have a good relationship. We would have loved to have them in the shootout. The challenge is, guys, having them in the shootout, I'm not sure we can update them correctly, and it just wasn't going to work. Hopefully they come back to the States and they'll be there, no doubt. But I think they're phenomenal. But the problem here, though, Misho, and this is a problem we have with YouTube, I can really only give you a little bit of my thoughts on something I've never seen, which is what I find interesting of the criticism on the panels I show many people is they're criticizing what they've never seen. To criticize a Z9K or an X95 or a 900B or a Z2, if me and a couple of others are the only ones on the platform showing it to you, I find interesting because I have the privilege of being able to bring that to you. So I did a video on Panasonic. It was only a monitor. There was no smart features, but it was stunning, and they're processing off the charts. Max, what's up? Oh, Max Chambliss, what's up? Max also has a YouTube channel. You see him collaborate a lot with Classy and those other guys. Max is a great guy, great personality. And the fact is, it's almost like when you see us recommend other YouTubers, it's like recommending somebody you would work with. There's no more shouting out channels that are people that I wouldn't work with. Max is a great guy. You can see by his profile picture, it's all smiles. And that's who we want to work with. And Max has a great channel. Please click on his channel, follow him back. What's up, Max? Oh, thank you so much. I'm getting some compliments from Value Electronics. What's up, guys? Thank you so much. I appreciate it so much. Let me know which one of you guys is typing. You cover the hot current topics of content, distribution, equipment, of course, the TVs and other digital displays, technologies. My pleasure. Thank you, guys. And I am definitely going to branch out more and do more projectors because I'm more interested in them now than ever. And, you'll see a lot of that in store and in our studio. Thank you so much to Value Electronics. Just let me know which one of you, just text me on my phone which one of you guys is behind the, behind the scene. I think it's probably Robert. So love when Robert jumps in here. Thank God you didn't quit YouTube. It's absolutely cheers for me. I appreciate you so much. I appreciate you guys too. And I am going to do a video soon called, the truth of being a YouTuber, what it entails. I think you'll see a lot of YouTubers that they only do YouTube. Then there's others of us that have families and have other careers, and our time is very valuable. And it's something that you have to enjoy. And like anything else that you love, if you don't enjoy it and it becomes a job, then you stop really kind of doing it. So guys like you and also encouragement from Value Electronics and all that helps me stay. So, I really appreciate it. Oh, in the comments, it's Robert Zone. So if you guys want to say hi to Robert, he's the one in the chat. Robert, thank you so much. And I haven't talked to Robert in a few days and I miss him because I'm actually away on vacation, but you're going to see a lot more of Robert. And Robert is definitely going to do, and I think it's very interesting, is his origin story. How way before he started the store, Robert's one of the first people to see HD TVs in general. So definitely going to have Robert and more. I think we'll probably do that interview in person. We'll mic him up and talk to him. He's incredible. And just an amazing person. I hate hearing that he's a salesman. Obviously, he owns a store. But trust me when I tell you, he doesn't need me or YouTube to sell TVs. And the reason why I put Robert in the videos, other than it's right because I'm in his home, but the geeking out that him and I do when I shoot a video and we're watching these TVs, we spend hours there. We spend hours there because he's that into it. And we have to look up the price because we're so into watching content. We watch movies. We spend a lot of time there. And I'll definitely do like a super cut of us watching the latest display. I think the next one you're going to see will probably be the 97-inch G2 will probably be something that we'll show. And then we're also going to come back and go back. I know Robert and I are going to cover some of the other panels throughout the year. And if you have any mini shootouts you guys want to see, we have the ability in store to do them. If you want to see the Z9K go against the X95K, and you'll see that in store. Things that we can make more more intimate. So just put in the comments, and if you actually do want to hit up Robert, he's always in the description, and he's more than happy to help you. And again, it's a 3-man show. Robert, his wife Wendy, and their daughter Leanne, awesome, as well as the rest of their family. Huge fan of you being here. I really appreciate it, KC. And guys, let me know if you've recently joined the channel, how you found me. I'm a huge. I don't care how big the channel gets. I'll blush when I get a comment like that, because I still am surprised that I'm even doing this, that anybody wants to watch me for this long. Even though this live stream has like half the people we normally have, it's okay because it gives me more time to focus on the comments and spend time with you guys. Definitely not the real Black Francis, the fan of the Pixies. Francis is my middle name. Is that your picture though? Francis, tell me let me know what TVs you got. I think you have the A90J. I did a walkthrough. I think you mean through Best Buy. I did one 2 weeks ago. I'm still going to do those videos, even though what's interesting, and I say this to Robert, even though all the TVs I've shown you, Best Buy doesn't even have yet, it's still important to show you what's at the brick and mortar. The problem is there's just really not a lot to show you. So the last video was a little sad. So I think I'm going to be doing those. I'll be doing those probably every 3 weeks, Taco, versus doing them every week. There's just nothing to show you. And actually they became very depressing because there was nothing to show you. A lot of empty shelves. And again, when I go to show you something that I've already had at home, like there was no A95K, no S95B, there was like nothing. There was really nothing for me to show you, so it got a little depressing. Civ, I just recently joined the channel. Thank you so much, Civ, for jumping in. I found you from Past Remote. I enjoy your content. Yeah, those are great guys. Brandon's awesome, and FOMO is awesome. And those guys, what I love about their energy is it's all about helping each other. Brandon has had this amazing ascension. He has ascended. He's doing amazing. And I text him. We were talking about having him on, and he's giving me little pointers. Like YouTube is now become that where you want to help each other versus keep the information for yourself. And that's what's so great about FOMO and Brandon from Stop Remote. It's the biggest challenge right now because I was in Best Buy and there was a group of people there that couldn't speak English, and they were looking at 2021 panels, and they were actually looking at X95J. 950H was there still, so they were looking at those, and I'm not sure they're really priced right, because I think as I was looking up the X90K price, the X90J is still more money. So love the channel. Keep the good work all the way in Jamaica. Awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, Taco. Thank you for saying hello. And please, if you're in the chat, don't be shy. Say hi. I'd love to see who you guys are. Flo, what's happening? I had you on a Z2, bro. If I would have hit that lottery, and I'll tell you, the Z2 is, and I spoke to LG engineers there, which is why you didn't see a lot of content. I was really talking to a lot of people. They were saying that, and we all thought there's a little special sauce that made the Z2, the Z9, and the ZX just have a richness that I felt that the other 4K panels didn't have. And from what they were saying is that the 8K resolution and the gradients actually help the image. So I thought that was very interesting, that the color gradients and the resolution do help. But the Z2 would be, if I could buy a TV right now, the Z2 would be the choice, simply because it's 88 inches, which is an amazing size. I would say the problem with it is that it's very expensive. Like, it's really expensive. The G2 would probably be one I would love at 97 inches. I would hang that as a projector, but unfortunately the G2 is also really, really expensive. So I think right now I'm looking at the 83-inch G2. But as far as ultimate TVs, it would definitely be the Z2. And the Z2, as much as you can always tell Robert or ask Robert if I can borrow it, the power supply for that thing is like 70 pounds. So it's really not practical. It really, even though you can hang it, it does better with its own mount and or with the base that comes with it. It's really a luxury item. Michael, how are you? Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. What's up, baby? You're going home? Really? Why?
She can't get someone to fix the AC, and it's really hot in here, and it's tough last night sleeping.
I got you. I got
She's
you.
now upset that I'm leaving, so I'm like, I'm staying out of it, and I'm just going to get myself out of this
Okay. So unfortunately, we're in this massive house, and the AC actually died. So I think our guests are probably going to take off because it wasn't easy sleeping last night. Jason, I found your channel back in I can put it up here. Thank you, Michael. I really appreciate it. Found your channel back in 2020. Enjoy your channel and content. Is there an opinion, a big difference between the X95K and the X95J? I do think there's a big difference. The X95J I thought was very good. I do think the X95J, I don't love the widescreen viewing angle on it. I thought it was a good panel. The X95K mini LED, I think, is a big jump. I do like the X95J and the Z9J. Now for value, but in terms of picture quality, the X95K and the Z9K are a big jump. So I would go for the X95K if you can swing it. The X95K will also drop, being that it's not a master series. You will see price drops on that. And that's something that you can also hit up Robert and Value Electronics. And if you do go to Value Electronics and mention my name, there are benefits there too. I know they do also still recommend last year's panels and can get those for you. Let's see. We got 50 of you guys left. Yeah, and what's so funny, Cross, and we mentioned this before, seeing the X95 we had it featured in the store at 85 inches, and I was blown away by it. And then I watched it systematically get kicked around the entire platform as this total piece of garbage. And I was furious with it because I'm like, that's not what I saw in store. So, and then Shane also has the 85-inch X95K that we reviewed in store, and it's phenomenal. So I would say this with blooming. I'll say this to you guys. I talked to a couple of the engineers on this. Many people that are upset with blooming now don't remember what blooming used to be. So now comparing them to OLEDs, yes, there is blooming on LEDs, but what you're seeing with LEDs and OLEDs is contrast ratio. So the X95K in the shootout was 65 inches. Robert made a point to have that in the shootout. Even though it was supposedly the weakest size, I don't think Sony really wanted it in the shootout. He still wanted it to prove a point. Look, here it is, calibrated, no problems with blooming in the shootout. Where it is weak, like any other LED, is contrast ratio. And blooming is, I think, an overrated thing. Any LED, guys, mini LED, even micro LED, is going to be it's gonna have blooming no matter what. Really, Brian, you wouldn't pick the Z9K as your dream display? No, I love the Z9K, and it's not really a dream display. I can buy that. I mean, is $10,000 a lot of money? Of course. The Z9K is within reach for what I would buy if I really wanted it. The challenge is with the Z9K for me is contrast ratio. I really still do feel OLED right now is just at that place where they're bright enough, they're vibrant enough. And unfortunately, from my viewing habits, I'm always in a pitch black room. So a pitch black room makes it impossible. Not impossible, you can enjoy an LED, but I'm learning to enjoy specular highlights with OLEDs. So though I'm always pushing for LEDs, I just feel they're a little limited when it comes to contrast ratio. The Z2 to me was better than both LEDs. And actually the 900B is something I want to try because I love the saturation of color on it. So the Z9K is great, but I do feel that we've gotten to a certain level with LEDs, even mini LED. It's actually amazing, but I wouldn't say it's a dream display. Guys, dream displays are TVs that you can't afford. You know, I mean, I would want a larger OLED probably. David Whelan in the house. David, how are you? Good to see you, my friend. And speaking of the Z9K, you're going to see more footage on it. You know, we'll have the Z9K. Everything's going to be unboxed, and I'll definitely bring you much more, much more content on it. You know, actually, there was somebody here to try to fix it, so it didn't work. AC doesn't really do that. But yeah, the Z2, awesome. I mean, really, really beautiful. Awesome, David. I'm glad you're getting a G2. You've had a really rough go of it when it comes to TVs. So I hope you get yourself a nice, clean panel. I would say this to you, David, because I know I went through this. When you get to the point where you are and the place I was with TVs, when you start pixel peeping because you've had so many bad ones, they'll never be a good one because they all have flaws, every single one of them. OLEDs will all have some sort of banding and 5 to 15% gray. G2s will all have some sort of pink tint because they are Evo panels. So I would just say keep all that in mind. Everyone that reviews TVs, everybody that talks about them, you think they have a clean panel. There is just different levels of clean panels. And there's a fine line between clean and defective. So I wish you the best of luck on the G2. I love it. And what's funny about the G2 is, and here's what I'm talking about. So, you know, there's that consensus that the 77 inches are cleaner than the 83 inches, but you got to remember there's very few people out there that have 83s. I know Classy had an 83 that had a heavy pink tint, but it's hard to name the other people you know that have 83 inches. It's still a tough size. But I'm looking for an 83 inch because I love the specular highlights on it. And David, that advice is coming from just straight misery. I mean, it's life-changing misery what you're going through because it's highs and lows. And that's the problem with display technology is they are still screens. They are still tangible versus a projector. And buying a screen uniformity is the biggest problem by far with any TV. And I would argue that all TVs have them. It's just that at 83 and 77, they're visible because of the size. And I will tell you this, HDR brings out those flaws. SDR content, if you play SDR games, you'll see no banding. You won't see any issues unless you have dead pixels, but HDR is really hard. Thank you, Luke. I really, really appreciate it. How are you, my friend? Luke's another great guy. Thanks for saying hi. Fahad Hamad, is the S95 scary for burn-in? I don't think it is. I do think the heat, not having a heat sink is worrisome, but I do think that they actually decided to back off the brightness to be careful of burning it in. The S95B is very thin. I don't think that any OLED or QD OLED you should abuse trying to prove a point. I think that you should really enjoy them and don't try to make them burn in. But I do think Samsung backed them off a little bit for the panel safety. And I think if they just came out and said that, people would be okay with it. That's why I think if you look at the A95K, you are paying for durability and you're paying for longevity, being that it has the heatsink and it's a Master Series. Okay, here we go. Biff Malibu. Brian, I had to start an extended warranty claim on my 85-inch Sony X95H due to an 8 to 10-inch light blue band all around the outer edge. Very interesting. I have never heard that before, Biff, but things happen, man. I mean, Jennifer Gala, who is a creator on the platform, ended up with a C1 with a defective lines down the screen. I don't mean banding, like legitimate like lines. So it does still happen. So Biff, what's the where are you going with it? Are you going to stay with the 950H, or are you flipping it out for something else? 950H is also excellent. My pleasure. So David, one last thing I would say, just for you and your sanity, this is how I view TVs now. This is whether it's at Value Electronics or at home. First thing I do is unbox, get it connected, set it up. And this is going to sound ridiculous, but don't watch it like this. Relax your eyes, sit back where you're actually going to watch TV, and start watching some content. So don't immediately go start looking for the tests. Don't immediately start doing your gray uniformity, your banding tests. They all have that. I will tell you, because I've seen hundreds of them at this point, if you put certain gray screens on screen, they all look that way. When you see ratings.com break down their panels, they'll tell you that they all have this or that. It's just, is it visible in content? I would spend the first few days just stretching your legs, watching it. Again, don't critically, get the binoculars out. Kind of relax those eyes, unstress yourself, and just kind of sit back and watch regular content for a while. Give yourself a few days of that. Let yourself get comfortable. And then if you want to do some critical viewing, then do that. If you have some troubling scenes in movies or in gaming, I would look at that. But I'll tell you that even with my C1 is very clean. I did a video on this with banding. There is certain content where if you pan, you'll see a ton of lines on the screen. The challenge is that's on every OLED I've ever seen. So those things are there. But I would try to enjoy it for a few days first, especially since it's a different, it's a G2. Don't immediately, David, start looking, and don't ask anybody. Don't ask any of the other channels. Don't look for information. Don't overload it. You trust your knowledge and that beard and just watch. I think you'll be much, much better off doing that. You guys bouncing? Okay. Who's the warranty through, Biff? Because I think if they can't, I'm not sure they'll be able to repair, unless they're going to repair it. I think you'll have to do a new version, which would be good for you, because then you'd be jumping into HDMI 2.1. And that's why you have extended. It's epic, bro. You got to trust that beard, man. It's got to bring calm. All right, guys, we're 2 hours, 42 minutes. Let's do a couple more minutes, and then we will call it a night. Thank you, David. I appreciate it. When it comes to the G2, also, David, do not pay attention to only this many panels are the new chip and the old chip and all that nonsense. Don't. Just watch the TV. Don't worry about all that stuff. Speaking to many of the LG guys, there's very little truth to that. So don't get too caught up in that. That's where you end up not trusting your eyes anymore. And then you're just looking at what other people say. And that's what I thought was interesting with the shootout. The G2 was like this big loser. I'm like, dude, I want it more than ever. Oh, Brandon Lee's in the house. What's up, Brandon? How you doing, brother? All right, guys, anything else you want to talk about? Tito's next time. Yeah, definitely. Oh, Green Toe. Let me know how that goes, because they actually, a company like that may actually have 950Hs, which is why I tend not to use those kind. I'm not sure they're authorized retailers. You got to double check. They may give you another 950H. If it's Best Buy or Sony themselves, that's when they will upgrade you to something new. I would request it, though, if you can. Yeah, my 55-inch CX was unbelievably clean. Now, what do you guys think? What TVs are you looking at? What TVs would you be most interested? Okay, good to hear. I'm glad. Maybe it's the Abe's of Maine that I was thinking of, Biff. That might be them. Let's see. Thank you, John. Did I ever put the A90J against the G2? I actually have not done that in store. What is interesting, though, is I did do it against the C2. And I have that video I'm going to launch too, because I think going back to the C2 is very valuable because it's a great value at this point. So hold on one second. Hold on 1 minute. Ooh. Hey, hon. D. Dara. Jesus Christ. Yeah. It's going to copyright the stream. Forgive the. So my wife's playing music outside, so this stream can't be public. So because I'm gonna get hit for copyright. That's all right. Where were we? Yeah. So the A90J and the G2, the C2 were very, very close. But the A90J is also excellent if you still find it. I mean, but the other panels have caught up this year. G2, C2 have definitely caught up. They do, Steve. I have HDVD. They definitely suffered from disc rot, something like that. They would literally just rot. You can't see them, but mine don't work anymore either. A lot of them don't. Yeah. So Chris, or Cross, that's not a bad analysis. When you get into people identifying with what they like, OLEDs might not be something that you like. There's still a signature with LED. There's a cleanliness to the whites. There is a sharpness to LEDs that OLEDs still can't really touch. So you do have to look at that and say, okay, that's not for me. And that's exactly, a lot of people have bought the E95K and said, I don't know, it didn't blow me away. I think because the QD OLED hype that we gave this Samsung, by the time people saw the E95K, like, where I saw the E95K for the first time, I thought it was phenomenal. Again, I was watching it in the store in a theater, so it's dark room, but you have to know what you like, and then you've liked the 900F and the X95, so that's definitely the image you prefer, and that's definitely where you got to go with it. That's why some people have gotten OLEDs have been like, I don't understand, what's the big deal? And some people have gone with LEDs and said, oh, I don't understand. So. Yeah, we're having our guests are leaving because the AC is not working. I think there's some drama in the background. So it's tough to cut the week short. We'll still be here. Yeah, so again, if we have the Q900B still boxed up at the store, I'm going to see if I can bring that home because my C1 is being sold. But I do want the G2 at 83. It's just going to take a while to find me a clean panel. Though the G2s have been really good this year from what they've seen at the store, I'd love to try the 900B for a few weeks just to see how 8K is with the Series X and the PS5 and with all my Blu-rays. I'd love to see how it is. Just the colors were just off the charts, Mark. So I agree. Okay, Biff. Let me know how it goes, please. Keep me in the loop. Was the DSC bad on the 900B at the shootout? It was not. I will say one thing I did notice on the 900B was jail bars. And that was only in one scene. It was a really interesting scene, too, because it was filmed, I think it was filmed in Quebec. And it was just the panning of like an outdoor scene, but it had snow. And you saw some of the jail bars. But I didn't see it in any of the content during the shootout. So, again, if I can get my hands on it and bring it home, I would love it. If not, I'll film it in the store if they still have it. And we'll do proper comparisons with splitters, and we'll show a lot of content. And that's the thing about the shootout, too, is the judges are looking at a lot of stopped, paused content where we watch more flowing, moving content. So it's hard to really give you the grasp of what that looks like on a stream. It's better if we're telling you what we see. And the content for the shootout's always going to change. Robert has a lot of ideas on what he wants to do next year. All right, guys, we got about 10 minutes left. So we'll start saying goodbye. And like I said, even though this was a smaller live stream, we kept the same number of people for a long period of time, almost 3 hours. Brian, do you know what studios in the U.S. are using the Panasonic as their reference? Why not compare? I don't know of any studios using them. So I highly doubt they're using them much, considering they're not here. So if they're not here, difficult to update them. I do believe if they are bought, and I know that when Robert purchased the movie reference ones for here, I think the warranty is a little hard too. So even if a executive from a studio buys it, it's hard to do anything with the warranty. If the TV's dead, it's dead. So I highly doubt many Hollywood executives are spending that kind of money on a reference monitor. The Sony pretty much is the one I know most about. But that Panasonic one was phenomenal that we saw. Go back on the channel, John, and watch and look it up. You'll see it. Oh, it's in New Jersey? Okay. Just be careful when you buy from a lot of those places. I know that Abe's of Maine and a couple other ones have been not even giving you the same TV that you were looking for. All right, guys, we're going to start closing it down. So what I like when we close the channel down for the last few minutes, I'd like to say goodbye to you guys and say thank you to each and every one of you. My pleasure, Leo. Thank you for being my friend. I really appreciate you being here. But typically what I like to do is in live streams, when the live stream ends, I like to kind of let you guys move out. As you guys leave, just say goodbye so I can thank you individually. So we'll start that now. We have about 8 minutes. Yeah, you'll see more Z9K. You'll see more Z2. Let's see. Looking forward to the next one. Felt more like 60 minutes. Yeah, no, I got you. Yeah, we have a good time. I was a little more low key because we have people in the house with us. When they're at home, I get a little more wild with the conversation and yeah, come on. So we'll definitely do more of that. But love you guys. Again, thank you guys for your friendship, for being here, for everything you do for me. It's very important. And I'm just so grateful to have all of you. Really, really. I don't know. It really just, and David, anything you need, hit me up on any of the videos and I'll be definitely here for you. And I'm down to listen. And believe me, I know what you're going through and it's awful. It's life-changingly awful. So, but, love you guys. Tristan, thank you so much. My company is bouncing right now. So thank you, David. Craig, thank you so much, Craig. Appreciate it. DMAC, thank you. Sif, thank you so much. My pleasure, John. Have a great night. Robert, you're watching the whole thing. Give me a call, Robert. I'm on vacation. We can chat. Thank you to Robert Zahn again. You guys ever need anything, hit him up. Amazing, man. Thank you, Brendan. Thank you so much for being here. Do some them for you now, dear Ram. Don't do this one. Trust me, if I can get the 900B, I'm going to shoot for you. I'll feature the 900B if I can. Bristol, UK. Awesome. 1 a.m. Awesome, Steve. Thank you for watching and hanging in there. I really appreciate it. Just answer the question, Fred. Love you guys. Thank you, Sterling. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you, D-Mac. You guys have an amazing evening. Biff, keep in touch with me, please. Let me know what panel you end up with, and let me know how that retailer handles it for you. I'm curious to know. Just be careful, that's all. Make sure you get what you need, okay? And let me know how it goes. Just answer the question. All right, guys, probably going to do another 2 minutes. If you have a good night message for me, rock it for me. Don't be shy. We still got 49 people in here watching.
They left.
Did they really? Okay.
No? Okay. You got your headphones and stuff? Yeah.
All right, guys, I'm going to end it here. Love you guys. Thank you so much for, again, being part of the channel, for all you do. I'll see you with, I have videos all that I'll be releasing tomorrow. I'll be releasing videos every day from now when I go back. I'll be back in the store hopefully next week, and we'll shoot all kinds of content, interviews, everything else. I love that. Yeah, that's cool, man. I appreciate it. That's great. I appreciate that. Good night, Mike. Thank you so much. Sterling, much love. Really appreciate you guys. And we'll keep the live streams going. Obviously, we have no problem talking for 3 hours. We have no problem rocking that. So, you know, it's all good. I just, again, I'm so very, very grateful to have you guys here. This stream will not be up public. I'm going to keep streams offline. So it's something that those of us that are watching it together can enjoy. But love you guys so much. You guys mean the world to me. Thank you so much. Have a good night. Brian's Tech Therapy, Whisper Status 74. Good night. Love you guys. James, thank you, my friend. Again, I'll give you a couple more minutes to say goodbye if you guys are still in there. Please don't be shy. Please say hello so I can thank you properly and say love you properly. All right, no takers. 3, 2, 1. Love you guys. Have a great night. Take care. Talk to you soon.